Skybo, you know we're royalty, right? You know this.
That's true, Chief
Rain
Judah.
will fall, sun will shine, night go rise. Never say no to yourself. Time will come, you go make you no rush. Also, break that bar. Today, not today, oh. Today, day for someone. So keep on knocking hard. Your time will surely come. Morona, moro day for you, oh. So never give up, oh. You'll be royalty. Never give up, never give up. 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 Never give up, never give up.
Live life.
Shalom. I forgot what I was going to say. Peace and shalom, everyone. Welcome to our midday affirmative. Give all praises to Yah, who has allowed us to be here at the start of this 7. We have our first 6 days, and then our 7th we rest. And also give honor and thanks to Chief Yuya, Jegna of Honor Life Global Ministries, for allowing this space and all of us to come on here, whether it be the Midday Affirmative, our Friday Fellowship, our Show and Prove, but, providing and even thinking up the space and directing us to do that so that we can deliberate on what we know and also learn what we don't know, and then share it with the masses. So give thanks for everyone for being here. I will, let everyone filter in as they are going to. Greetings, Sovereignites. Thank you for joining us. And as you're filtering in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So today's midday affirmative is really just to give a little context and background. It is a further deliberation on Chief Yuya's podcast, on his current series on eldership and spiritual motherhood. And we had our internal study session where we, I discovered clearly I had not listened to it as I thought I did. And so I did a little bit more digging to understand context in which some of the information was being given. And so what I came up with was what's good. And so you'll see we'll flow into it and go into how we're going to get into that part of the discussion. And so what I wanted to ask everyone, as I see you filtering in, shalom, 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 peace on the radio, peace, Chief Yuya. Thank you for joining us. Wellness and grace to you as well. Peace, top tier speakers, Master Menulek, and Ima Sequoia. Yes, and Ima Sequoia. Give thanks. So the question, so I'm going to start out with a question. And the question that I would like to ask everybody is, what's good? And the interesting part about what's good is we use it as a greeting, as an answer to show how or to express how we are faring in that moment. It's also a descriptor to what's beneficial or uncorruptible or right or acceptable. So that question is, what's good? And so in the context of how you doing, what's good? So I'm looking for those answers for y'all. As for myself, I'm doing well because we are at the top of another 6, and I have a whole other 6 days to figure out the business, right? Chief has said to us that, we don't follow the technology of no money moves on Sundays and, business starts on Monday. We have business days. No, business starts today. So I'm very grateful and thankful that I have the opportunity to start that business today, and willfully complete some things that will help with business. So I'm looking for y'all. What's good? What's good with y'all? So peace, Abu Haru, peace, Akizak. Peace to all of you. And then I have a question. So, what's good with y'all? Shalom to all in the chat. Shalom to you as well. So, what's good? What is good? What is good? And it has another. There's another layer to this question. So, I want to know what's good with y'all. And then when we, start letting each other know like how we're faring, how we're doing, a descriptor for what's happening with you. Then we'll get into the other layer of this question. So, like I said, I am very grateful that we're able to start another 6 and go into being able to produce as instructed. As instructed. All right. Those answers filtering in. Peace, Mayuba. Peace. Happy to be here. Peace, peace, peace to you, Mayuba. Peace, everyone. And how was your Sabbath? Like, what's good? How was everything? How did you rest? Did you enjoy your rest? I know for those of us, and I knew we had a film to deliberate on, which is really, really good. It was really, really good. I know we all enjoyed it. So that adds to like the goodness, right? Still having like those residual good feelings from the previous day. Aki Zach says what's good means multiple things, right? Like you want to fight. Yeah, you know what? I was trying to keep the positive part. I was trying to keep the positive part. Yes, it does. You want to fight? Like Paris. Let's fight. It does mean you want to fight. Or everything okay? Or how was your day? It does. It does. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. That's the second one. But how are you doing? What's good with you? I'm not asking if you want to fight. I'm asking if everything is okay or how was your day? What's good with you, Akizat? What's good with you, Sovereign Needs? What's good with you, Mayuba? Top tier speakers, Chief Yuya, Anu Radio, and Abba Harut, and Master Menulek. I think that's everybody. What's good with y'all? And this is not like Teams. I can't even see the 3 dots to let me know if you're typing, but willfully you are. So Anu Radio says, I rose with health. The sun is shining. Had a great exchange with some youth. And now we are here together. Give thanks. We are here together. We are in this virtual space. And so as your answers start filling in, some of you, Anaki Zach has already done. So, what is good? I would like to know what that is too. So like we said, it like Aki Zach said, it can mean a number of different things. Like, do you want to fight? Is everything okay? How was your day? It can be used as a greeting, a question to ask how you are, or descriptive to beneficial, right, or acceptable, or uncorruptible, something that's good. So what is good? So I would like to see and read or hear. So, definitely make sure the link is in the chat. So if you would like to join and give like your live description of some of the answers or builds live, you are welcome to do that. But what is good? So we've got the first layer of that question, like what's good with you? How are you? And the second layer to that question, like what is it? So you put your descriptor of what is good, how you understand what good is. I'm gonna have to sneeze. Aki Zach says, I was able to watch a movie yesterday with the community and build in some things that I missed. Put more tools in my bag to grow and evolve. Always good. Absolutely. Abu Harut says, what's good for me is I'm breathing properly without any health challenges. I think we overlook that a lot, right? Like I can interact, or I can, still engage in that exchange of inhale and exhale of air. Like there are so many who they can't, because either they need the assistance of a machine or they were not blessed to join us on this, this yom, so that their last day was yesterday. So that is always a good one to acknowledge. What is good always reminds me of go, I do. Go and do. Okay, I see. That's what Brother Mayuba says. What is good always reminds me of go, do. Can you elaborate on that a little while the answers start coming in? Master Melech says, I was able to catch up on some rest. Very much needed, right? Catch up on some rest and am blessed with mobility. That's another one. Just being able to move and life. It can also be a signifier, and the other answer is it can also be a signifier of something being approved of or perfected, and the Elohim saw the light and it was good. Absolutely. Give thanks. And that's where some of this comes from, like, what is good? Who defines what good is, and how are we understanding that good? And I also want to just acknowledge, again, the part about the mobility, much like the breath, and Chief has mentioned this before about, you know, say like this, has mentioned this before about, just becoming older. And some people not even being able to walk down the street. So sometimes when we see those olders, and I'm going to say olders on purpose, when we see those olders and they, have some form of mobility, some are still driving, it's a blessing to be able to do that because there are so many who can't. And depending on how we even treat our bodies, like in this present, like how present we are with what we do with our bodies, we may or may not be able to be that mobile or have that mobility. So yeah, it is always a good thing to be thankful and have gratitude for just what seemingly simple things like mobility. Talk about citation, right? I don't want any problems. I don't want any smoke. So yeah. Sovereignty says, I continue to know and experience the presence and power of our Elohim through breath, correction, joy, service, and offering good words to others. What's good is peace. Give thanks. Eman Sequoia says, what is good? That I have the capability to learn and grow the mind. Awesome. Yeah, that is good. What is good? And I brought up, the what is good, and I'll keep answering, reading along as your answers come in. But it made me think of it because in the podcast, and this is number 92, there are two instances where Chief does go over or mention what is good. And one of the examples was about, especially when we think about Bereshit. And he saw that, and Elohim saw that the light was good. As creation is happening, this is good. There's a declaration that something is good. And the word used is tov. And so, of course, I gotta put in the Hebrew part, which I thought I had. Yeah. Tov, tet vav vet, or vet, because it's the V sound, right? So tov. And what does tov mean? Tov means good, pleasurable, pleasing, delightful, sweet, something that's good and beneficial. And it comes and it's comprised of three of the Hebrew letters tet, vav, and bet, the bet/bet, right? And so the tet alone, the tet is the letter, it means good. Vav is like the hook or the peg, pegging into the tent, like nailing down the tent. And bet is the house, right? So it's almost like we're looking at it is good to be stable in the house. It is good to have that stability or to be nailed down to the house, to have that loyalty in a sense, to the house. So good. And a lot of what was discussed in even these last three films, last two films, I want to say, and the last three podcasts, it's a lot of discussion and gems and teachings from TVR on discipleship. And part of that is, the discipleship of, or the discipling, or the discipler being the woman, and that woman being the elder and the elder mother. So I'm going to just skip to the chat real quick so I don't miss anything. Abu Haru says, What's good for me is all my five faculties. Senses are in balance and harmony. You know what that makes me think of? We affirm our divine authority over the lower stages of our own faculties. So yeah, we have those faculties, and what are they? Our sight, sound, or sight, hearing, touch, thought, ideas, like so those are our faculties, like our mind. And how many times do they get caught in like those lower stages, those very basic things, where where we would need discipleship, need to be discipled by someone, or need to come up under the discipling of someone, so that we don't do that. We need to have someone further along the path so that we can, have that assistance to raise ourselves up above those lower stages. So I think, yeah, like having all the faculties and senses and balance and harmony, that is a blessing that you can do that. And especially if you are, being brought along the path by someone further along than yourself. And Sabine says, yeah, let's go fight. No, Paris, that's not what we do. Right. So that's why I didn't want to. Like, well, no, I think we don't like just go fight like Paris. However, when we do think about that spiritual motherhood, and I'm pulling from what she said, like, she's always at war, like, and even standing on your square is a warrior stance. So sometimes that is what we do, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean physical or physically fight. But that warriorhood is like, yeah, but I'm ready. So what's good? So maybe it does. Maybe it does. Give thanks. So, Abaharu also says, and give thanks. Yes, like and share. And Abaharu also says, what's good for me, knowing our Elohim and mastering in my life's journey while applying the divine lessons. Awesome. Yeah, I think we are all striving to be mastering the journey, right? And letting happiness find us. Letting happiness find us in the journey, as we push along. Give thanks. So I did want to like go to the what's good part, and part of that comes from I think it was like almost like an hour in. The older, and I'm going to quote, the older woman has the ability to tell a younger woman what is good. So I'll repeat it. An older woman, and I will say, like, yes, it said older, but when we're talking about our community, this would be an elder, right? An elder woman has the ability to tell a younger woman what is good. So the next question I have for everyone is, what is an elder, right? And I think it was, I don't know which dictionary it was, but when we think of elder, like the definition usually given is like a senior person, whether it be status or position, or it's in reference to, or their status or position is in reference to an order or time frame, or an elder is the leader, right? And I would like to hear from everyone else. What is an elder? I have an answer, but how we view elders in our new. And of course, if I missed something or if it needs to be corrected, please feel free to either join in or put it in the chat, and I will definitely read it. But I'm looking for, what is an elder? So when we think about like things that are good, an older or an elder woman or elder in your community has the ability to tell a younger woman, and this will be the same for the men too, but I am specifically speaking regarding the women right now. An elder woman in your community has the ability to tell a younger woman what is good. What is good? And thinking about what we know about good, what is an elder? What is an elder? So I will wait for some of that. And as they come in, I imagine like the question has gotten to y'all now in the broadcast. So as they come in, I'll share mine. Someone who has exhibited or gone through the entire equation of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That would be an elder. That would be the reason why he or she is able to impart to the younger or junior woman or man what is good. That is why she would be able to lead the household, be that tov in the household, because she can, she's going through the equation, she's received the knowledge, and she's going to do. We know that wisdom is putting the words into action. And so what manifests is the understanding, and then that understanding should be the reflection of the vision imparted by the head, and that vision is given to him by Yah. So I am looking for your answers. What is an elder? What is an elder? And don't copy my answer. That's what I got. What is an elder? What is an elder? And also, like, and as you're thinking about that, what it's the same. What is an elder, or what makes someone an elder? Is it confined to age? Right. So those are some things I want us to deliberate on. I would like for us to deliberate on. Isaac says, elder is one that can sit you down and put you up on game, let you know pitfalls and problems to avoid so you can move and groove. Yeah. It's like, let me show you, I've been where you were trying to go. So let me give you, some shortcuts, right? And I have a question, we are also supposed to be the evolution, right? Each generation is supposed to be the evolution and do better than the last. So when we have those elders showing us the pitfalls and saying, like, here, like you said, I'm going to show you how to move and groove. If we're the evolution, is there also going to be some deviation at times where you kind of remixed or remix or not, what that elder is giving you, because you're supposed to be the evolution? And that's a genuine question that I have for the chat. Harut says, an elder is one who masters life's journey, learning from our past mistakes, and teaches his younglings, I like that, younglings to live righteously. Good things. Which would be different than one who is an older, right? So an elder would be different from one who is an older that would give you some backward behind advice. To only deify oneself, right? Right, or because they are moving in fear, and that fear could be because I don't want anybody to outshine me, I don't want anyone to surpass me, or I'm gonna give this backwards advice because I had my, I would say if it's the woman, because we're getting instruction from the man, and we're supposed to be we are supposed to disciple or be disciplers. I don't know. Be disciplers of junior women. It could be, well, I want to see my own self in this. So I'm going to change the words, right? I'm going to change, I'm going to add words, right? And we see that, we have seen that even with Hawa, when she, decided to reinterpret what was told. She was told, do not eat of this. But then it was, oh, well, the serpent said, he said this, and I believed him. So, that adding on of words, of what the rules actually are, or the shifting around. So that's what it could be when it comes to women, right? Chief Yuya says, answer, an elder is one who imitates El Yah on earth more perfectly than myself. Elder is relative to my place, relative to Yah and theirs. No El, Yah, El, which is Yah, they are no elder. Give thanks. Give thanks. So you have to be modeling. You have to have that. I think the words used in the podcast were no, not in the podcast. These are actually in the honor way. Um, righteous sanctity. I think those are the words. Um, and that righteousness is key because it's, righteousness is what's needed right now, and that sanctity is like that holiness or that godliness. So you should, elders, as we all should, be moving, always have that communing, or that have that link to the Most High, that link to El, which is Yah. Give thanks. Anu Radio says, one who has shown and proved actions of wisdom by how they live. The fruit of their wisdom is visible, and they advise and are constant learners. Right? We did learn, the elders. We are always constantly learning. So eldership does not mean I've stopped learning, because if you stop learning, that means you have nothing. There's nothing else that can be imputed to you, and then that can be translated or transformed into pride. And we learn that pride is when you think that Yah has nothing left to teach you. So regardless of your eldership, you are still always learning, or we are still always learning. I have to put myself in that. Abba Harut says, an elder is one who passes down that sacred knowledge of self and teaches one how to live. Good day, Georgina. Shalom. Thank you for joining us. Master Menulek says, an elder is someone who is further along the path than you are walking on, who can show you the ropes of how to properly walk that path, give wise counsel, encourage discernment and good judgment. Give thanks. And I thought also that there is a contrast, and I think Chief just outlined that there's a contrast between the older and the elder, that contrast between us and them, those who are just following teachings, or those who are just following teachings of others, Els or other deities. There has to be an acknowledgement, because following the wrong El can make you a cretin on any side, and I think if you are following, we know, and I know we know who our El is, and the point is not to follow other Els. And if you are following another El, that's your El, and that's where you're supposed to be. But this is where we're supposed to be. And so any elders that are imparting wisdom to us, or should be imparting wisdom, should also be following the same El and acknowledging the same Elohim, acknowledging Yah. Chief says, so therefore all of your answers were incorrect as they left. Give thanks. Yah El out of the equation. This is why some of you have wicked mentors. You listen to anyone who pushes you toward what you want. Give thanks. I'll read that again. So therefore, all of our answers were wrong. They left Yah and El out of the equation. This is why some of you have wicked mentors. You need to listen. You listen to anyone who pushes you toward what you want. And you know what? It makes me think about the film yesterday, right? And we see that he could not really excel. So the film that we watched was, go to podcast 92 and you can find out which film, but I'll say it as well. Peaceful Warrior. And we find out that the character, he doesn't really start to come into being able to strengthen himself and really understand what the teachings that were being given to him until there was only one master. There was only one teacher, only one discipler, that he was following. Because before that, he had all these other distractions and noise. He had the coach. He had whatever his desires were, all the expectations he thought that were needed from the outside world. And we see a lot of his teammates were suffering from the same thing, right? And so then it makes me think when there's another master or we're following other wicked mentors, it doesn't even necessarily have to be like how we saw like the coach, like a singular body. It could be this disembodied programming that we're following, right? Which would be wicked, and wicked is something that is the opposite of, you know, the righteousness, is the opposite of what we should be doing. And that's why it would be, or they would be wicked, or the whatever it is that we're following would be wicked. Whatever thoughts that are creating blockages would be wicked, because we're not allowing ourselves, we're not giving in to what that righteous teaching is. So then we're trying to serve more than one master. Yes, give thanks for the correction. Akisak said, dang, I thought we was talking about something too. I did too. But that's the point, is to, you know, be open and deliberate. That is what the midday affirm, like anytime I think we get on, is to deliberate, because the truth must be deliberated. So if we are discussing the truth and then we say something that's wrong, it's got to be corrected so that it remains truthful and not be shifted into something else. That's me. Laugh. LOL. Yeah, I thought we was doing it. I was like, okay, we got some momentum. But now we know. Elders must have L. They do not take Yah out of the equation. They do not take Yah out of the equation. So my next question was, what does it mean to call someone elder? And I think we got that answer. And also for us to be disciples, like, we have to have emptied out our heads and not put our wants and desires ahead of what is righteous, so that whatever that elder is providing, that it actually sinks in and it can take root. It can be that vav and get hooked into, you know, that goodness gets hooked into the house, right? That's when it becomes tov. That's when it becomes what is good. And righteous, right? And righteous, what is righteousness? Righteousness is what is needed right now. That's what righteousness is. So I'm gonna go back to the quote that we had. And again, as I said, if you would like to come on and, you know, deliberate live, the link is, I think it's been pinned, but the link is definitely in the chat. So it takes me back to what was discussed in the podcast. An older woman, or an elder in your community, has the ability to tell a younger or junior woman what is good. And so that brought us to, and the title of that podcast was The Spiritual Mother. And where I took it somewhere else, because the proverb that was given, which was those who seek temporary security rather than basic liberty deserve neither. I was like, okay, well, the internet said, Google said, is this person. And rather than like doing a deeper and more diligent search, I just left it at that, where the point was to connect it to the spiritual mother, you know, so that it was within context. And even that, I was like, well, I don't understand. But I was like, well, this is what Google said, right? So that's that other master. But taking it within context of what was being shared in the podcast, which was the spiritual mother. And so had I done like further research and I dug a little bit more, I would have come across what Chief shared with us in our study session, that proverb is actually a statement that has been shared by many people, and especially those in the civil rights movement. And also I would also say like the Pan-African movement as well. And I'll say it again, those who seek temporary security rather than basic liberty deserve neither. And so that brought us to him sharing with us about Queen Mother Moore. And so I, you know, had to go in and dig a little bit to say like, okay, well, who was this woman? You know, why is she the example, you know, of what it means, or the example of like the spiritual mother, and, you know, learning a little bit more about like what she did and how that relates to why that spiritual motherhood is key and crucial, especially how we move in Anu. Now, no, this woman was not Anu, but a lot of the things that she did were very closely mirrors, what we share and what we teach as being that elder and being the that warrior, standing on your square and moving forward. Just gonna pause really quickly. Akizak says, when one takes their eyes off the creator, it is when one starts to invite anxiety and depression in their life. Makes me think of one walking on water. Right? Yeah. It's like, how am I supposed to get to you? Well, come on out on the boat. You on the water? I can't walk on water. But then, and I'm gonna come to you. And then, you're walking on that water. And the minute you look down because of that doubt, you take your eyes off the creator, you drown. Well, I don't think you drown, but like you start falling in. And who was it? Was it Peter or Paul? I can't remember. Somebody please put it in the chat. But the minute, he took his eyes off of Yahweh Shai, he just splish splash, taking a bath. Down goes Frazier. And that's where he was. So yes, give thanks for that, Akizak. So yeah, so like, no, she's not Anu, but she is an example, Queen Mother Moore. How did her life align with some of the principles? And I would start with like just the title that she was given, like Queen Mother, which I think, so I learned, like, she went to Ghana, and specifically it was the Ashanti people who gave her that title, and it would be Nana, I think, which means Queen Mother. And why? Because they had heard of the work that she was doing over in the U.S. So who was she? She was someone who was a Garveyite. She was very moved by Marcus Garvey, who was another Pan-Africanist. Peter, I think. Yes, Peter. Okay, good thing. She was another Pan-African. He was another Pan-Africanist, very largely known. He started the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association, of which she became a member. And it was like a big deal. She's from Louisiana. And so when Garvey was coming down to New Orleans, where she was at the time, it was a big deal. And she was part of the group or that chapter of the UNIA that, kind of stood up to law enforcement at the time to allow him to speak. So he came, like the first day, he was barred from speaking. They put all these things in place to bar him from speaking. And the next day, like, she was, out there, guns blazing. I don't think anything popped off, but it was really like, what's good? And they had their weapons, and they were armed to the teeth. Is it T or teeth? They were armed. And she was like, she's in some interview, she's like, yeah, I had 2 guns. And she was out there, with the people to make sure that he could come and speak and say whatever it is that he needed to say, because it was something that needed to be heard. So it really was, acknowledging the vision that this man had, and making sure that she was part of that process in getting the vision out there and helping it to be spread and manifest, right? So in that case, like, she was a warrior for her nation. And so, yeah, she did move I shouldn't say that. Like, she did move within, like, both Pan-African and African nationalist movement, as well as the civil rights movement. And interesting enough, like, the work that she was doing was well before a lot of, the major things that we see or that we learn about in the civil rights movement. Like, they were moving, like, in the early to mid 50s, where we see a lot of stuff a lot of events in the civil rights movement were not until like early 60s. So they were well underway before what the history books share with us. So that takes me to back to like kind of like how searching for the proverb and searching for information when we're taking notes and listening to things, like, what's the information that's put in front of your face first? Why is it put in front of our faces first? And that's to keep you following the wicked mentor, right? Keep us following the wicked mentor. And I was right along with it. I was like Weekend at Bernie's, just following, like, and knowing better, right? So yeah, she did go through a few iterations before really coming into like her stance being we, and at the time it was the Black peoples, have to be self-determining. And immediately I was like, oh my God, that's Coochie Jackalia. And a big thing with her was being self-determinant. And so that was her, like, she used all of what she learned, and she studied. She talked about like how she had to study a lot, and she would study and then go do. So she would receive the knowledge, whether it be from like the in-person things that they were doing, meeting or whatever, or reading, and then she would actually put what she learned into action, and then also teach that to other people. She was really, really good at organizing, like community organizing. And so a lot of people that we that also have become big have sat at her feet, like Malcolm X. A lot of people sat at her feet to learn like how she organized. Like that was her big thing. And when I learned that about her, I was like, that's similar to the organizing and the keeping of the home, right? Gathering the people together to say like, this is what we're going to do, this is what we need to do, and this is how we're going to do it, because this is what I'm getting from the top. And so I thought that was really amazing, like learning that about her. And so going back to that proverb about seeking temporary security, what was happening, especially in that time, and even now, they just kind of the attack is different. It's not as I don't want to say direct. They are direct sometimes, but they're not as overtly brutal as they were back then. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But they weren't as overtly brutal. And in that time, she's making the decision to like, no, I'm going to stand on the square. This is what's right. She was one of the first people to ask for reparations. Like she was literally going through what is good and saying like, this is what we need to do. And she was doing it until the day that she died. And so there was no temporary security. Like, who cares if the police is going to be here? I'm going to have my gun in my hip and my gun in my back pocket or wherever she had them. Who cares? There is no security without the basic liberty. So that to me was, something that I appreciate, even being called out in the moment and said, well, you didn't, go forward and like really look at it into context, and then having to go and do that and then learn like, no, this is what's good. And this type of movement, this example of this type of movement is why someone can show you this is what's good. I've been through the fire. I've been through the flood, and I'm going to show you how to do it because this is what needs to be done. This is what's right because this is what is needed right now. And what I do think is a part that is sad, it's still needed. So that makes me think like what, and maybe we have discussed this, like, what's happening that these things are still needed. Like even when we talk about in the womb group, we've been discussing Shahrazad Ali and her book, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. And when I first read it, it was like 2019. And I was like, okay, this book is 30 years old. These things are still happening. So what is the problem? Like, what's happening? Where's the disconnect that these things that have been pointed out 30 years, like for 1989, that's 30 years. But we're talking about Queen Mother Moore moving around in the 50s. This has been going on for like a quarter of a century. And we still haven't really made a lot of progress. Why? Because we are not we're following elders, right? And then not listening to the elders, the ones that do have that connection, that are connected with the Most High. We're not following them, and we're ignoring them, and we're taking on different mentors and masters, right? Or we're falling, and again, which some of those can be like the desires, the wants, and all those noisy things that get in the way. And so then we don't have a clear vision or understanding of what is good, right? Because we're not listening to those people who are connected to say, no, this is good because the Most High said this is what's supposed to happen. This is good. Instead, it's eat this apple. It's tasty. They didn't say, you sure he said you wasn't supposed to eat it? Like, we're having these different added on words and interpretations of and misinterpretations of what is good. Aki Zach says, that's a song, ain't it? I've been through the... I think it is. I think it is. I think it is. I think it is a song. It's coming to me. I just, who... Well, it'll come to me who, but yes, it is a song. Yeah, it is a song. We're not going to promote who sang it, but that's interesting. So yeah, so I did want to just share that and learning, why that proverb was so crucial, and also and how it's connected to understanding like what's good. What's good with us. So what should be good with us is whatever the Creator has in store, which was said also in the podcast. What should be good with us is, what Yah has outlined, what is good, what Yah has designed for us. And that is, definitely outlined and stated in the podcast. Like that's what should be good. And so those are like all the pieces that I missed. And so I thought it was important to come and share that here and deliberate on that a little further, and open up the space for those of you who did, read the podcast or did or are interested in, discussing or deliberating more about what is good and what we should be doing and what that looks like when we translate that to being that elder for some of us, because like I'm not in the 20s anymore. So that's, what I'm looking, I'm not in the 20s or the 30s. So it isn't like this, cutesy wootsy, time to play. I am at that stage where I'm supposed to be moving into spiritual motherhood. But at the same time, that can't happen unless my eyes are totally fixed on the Most High. Right. And so that's also part of what's good, what has to be good, how I have to look inside and say, like, how am I not connected? How am I disconnected? What is the noise? What is the other master that I'm, focused on that is preventing me from having that honor of being that spiritual mother? Aki Zach said, or having an apple pie instead of an apple, talking to myself. Yeah. All the added ons. Just have the apple. Why you gotta add on the dough and the sugar and all the other stuff? Yeah. Because maybe if we have the apple, like eventually, like the apple pie or something better will come. Or maybe not. Like maybe it doesn't need to be, waiting for like, or I'm going to do this, which becomes very transactional. I'm going to do this, because I know that this thing will happen later. Just be happy with the apple and experience eating the apple. Peace, Margie Marie Art. Of course you are. Oh my God. Can y'all not see the link? She asked, are we able to hop on and join you? Of course you can. Can someone please put the link? You know what? I'll do it. I thought it was there. I thought I saw it, but you know what? I thought it was pinned. Maybe it's not pinned. So that it's there. Because I know when the chat moves, sometimes you can't go back up. So check to see if it's pinned. Let me kind of go. Oh, it is pinned. So if you can go up to the top, you can definitely click that pin and jump on. And if you tried to jump on and maybe I didn't see you, because I do be leaving people in the waiting room sometimes because I have to be mindful to look down. But okay, thank you. Give thanks, Chief. Yes, thanks. It is pinned. Okay, you didn't see it. Okay, yes, it's pinned. Yes. Yes. Oh, I keep doing that. Don't do that. Yeah, you absolutely can. So while we wait, I guess you're coming on. So Sovereignty says she functioned in so many roles: advocate, organizer, spiritual leader, educator, founder, and I saw that she was a bishop too. So I missed that one. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she did. She functioned in a lot of roles. And so even in her being able to do all of those things, it was that qualifier. For that, for that specific thing, it was that qualifier for her, because it's like, I've done all these things and I know how to do them. And so you can learn how to do this from me. The other part that I really thought was interesting was like it was an example of, see how can I, oh my goodness, wait. I'm sorry. See how chaotic the feminine is. Oh my goodness, where is it? Is it there? The pin came out. Papa dead. Lord of mercy. Okay. It was a little bit. It was a little bit. It was. Yes. 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 We are. We are chaotic. I did have a little bit of a conniption. It was even deeper than what was exhibited. I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, there was a lot of scrambling. You didn't see there was a lot of like furious hand movements off camera. Like what, and a lot of clicking. I don't know if it could come through. But yes, absolutely. So back to the comment about her being like an advocate organizer. Yeah. And what came to mind as I was like, learning more about her, and also again, trying to put all this together, like, having, security and liberty, acknowledging what is good and who is saying what is good and how to do it and how to attain good. It also brought me to like the part where Chief talks about being sober-minded, and a lot of this is coming from Titus, where Paul is speaking to Titus and saying like the men have to be sober-minded, the women have to be sober-minded, like this is what they have to do. And so it was like, well, how is she also, so sober-minded? And Chief talks about, he mentions the scripture, part of scripture where it's like not given to too much wine or gossip. Where are you? Here. Okay. Not give a peace, Marjorie. What's happening? What's going on with this view? Why does the view look like that? Let me see if I can fix that view. All right. Yeah.
Peace. Achoti Yaffe, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. Peace, everyone. I don't know what part I came in. I was having a hard time tapping in, but I was like, I'm hope I'm not interrupting her.
No,
But
you're not. You're not. You can join in whatever part. I'll figure out how to move us back. But just jump in whatever struck you when you decided you wanted to come on. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just was reflecting on the question that you posed. What is an elder? And I was reflecting on a build that I was having this dawning surrounding today's mathematics. And it made me think of when you say elders, the word wisdom comes to mind. And that correlated with today's mathematics being wisdom, power, refinement, all being born to Elohim. And, I was having a conversation with Chief surrounding the mathematics. And speaking on it, there was a point where the L had been taken out, right? We were talking about speaking wise words when you refine your speech and you're speaking from a place of truth. You're speaking from the knowledge that Yah has given you, how powerful your speech becomes. Your words become wise, they become wisdom. And they have the ability to raise the deaf, dumb, and blind, to bring the people, who are just ignorant, bring them to the light. And I thought, how often do we listen to people who are older than us? And we may go to them seeking advice, and they may tell us certain things that may have maybe bits and pieces of the truth in it. But sometimes they're slipping in, some tricknology up in there. They're slipping in things that are not coming from divine thought. It's not a straight divine thought because it's not really coming from Yah, right? And how in those moments, sometimes we walk away confused. They may have sat and talked to us for a good 30, 40 minutes, but we still walk away confused because something is like, something about what they said is still off. It doesn't seem right, or you don't quite know what it is, but you just know, You know what I mean? And it's like being able to hear and decipher when someone is speaking truth, because it's going to come through, and you're going to have that understanding. You know, it made me think of also the scripture that says, is Elohim is not the author of confusion, but the author of peace, right? And so, you know, when you were asking what is an elder, it made me think of that wisdom, someone who speaks wisdom, who speaks wise, and being able to decipher between the two, you know.
Give thanks. And also, they have to, as you said, I agree. I do think that wisdom is there, and that wisdom comes from El. It comes from Yah. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Give thanks. Give thanks. We are joined by Amos. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Were you done?
No, hey, I'm just here.
Okay. I'm not saying. I was just trying to move to the other sister on stage.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Also, you said the view doesn't matter if the video's off. So I don't know if that's hint for turn the camera on. Just bring your attention to the chat. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just want to jump in on that piece that Sister Marjorie Marie was speaking on, like when you're speaking to an elder and they may be given that tricknology. It's like, how many of us have the discernment to know who is connected to the Most High Yah? Because you may have people that say, I'm for the Lord, they may say things like that. And you're like, okay. And some people, they seek that type of information and they listen to it because maybe it feels good for what they're doing. And so they actually don't even they don't even care to have discernment. They like, oh, if you something that makes me feel good, it sounds right for my life, I'm gonna go with it. If it's catering to my emotions,
Yeah.
I just think about like that willingness to like be refined by a true teacher. Like how many run from that or don't even have the humility. I think about the movie that we watched yesterday, and I knew the peaceful warrior and how he just lacked humility. He wouldn't even listen at first. He didn't listen to the wisdom that was being given to him. But it was like a process in him learning how to be a student where he's like, okay, now I'm ready to learn by a true teacher, you know. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share so far.
Yeah, give thanks. And I would kind of pulling it also what Margie Marie said about like the wisdom and can we discern whether they have it or not. And I thought about that as well. And I was like, it must be if we both have the Ruach HaKodesh moving through us, then we should be able to make that connection. That connection will be there. It's like in the Anuwe where it talks about the celestial embers. We'll be drawn to those people. We should be drawn to those people. But then it's like, is that draw stronger? Are we allowing it to be stronger than whatever those worldly desires are? Because those can be very strong too. The devil is powerful sometimes. The devil's a liar, So are we fortified enough in our faith, right? Do we have it so that, and if we are, then acknowledging or finding or having that pull to those wise ones, those wise elders should be easier, and it should be simple to cut ties with the crazy,
It makes me think of when you say that pull, having that pull and being able to come to those elders it's a level of surrendering. It's that level of surrendering and letting go of whatever our fears are, whatever we're trying to bring into that new space, that keeps us going back. I mean, I can even testify to an extent, like being imputed with divine thought and having moments where I thought, okay, I can go back and speak to an aunt who at one point I was looking at like, oh, this is my God, and they're an elder and everything they say is right, but going back and then speaking to them, I hear the difference. And it's like, oh, now I'm repelling them. It's like I don't even really want to speak to you. Like I can go 6 months without speaking to you and I'm okay. Because I don't hear Yah when you speak. You know what I mean? And I'm so saturated now with the thoughts of Yah that I've completely surrendered. I don't want to go back to that way of thinking or your thoughts that you provide, coming from chaos. And
Yeah.
so it's that level of surrendering.
Yeah. And it makes me think how many could be elders, but so like and I think we can say we all have those blood relatives, whether it be aunts or uncles. And before it was like, what you said, there's so much wisdom, and there's a little bit of like, yeah, they have been on this plane longer, so that there are some things that they would have noticed and seen that should be acknowledged. But then we have to have the discernment to know, like, you can't take in everything that they say because there's no L attached to it. Like you can't heed those things. And then it makes me think how many of those people, of those blood relatives, may have been or might be celestial embers, but it's I don't know, the fire is petering out because they allowed their elders who were not connected to the Elohim to impute them with all these things, or they allowed those wants and those needs, those earthly wants and desires to be louder than the will of Yah. You know what I mean? So then it's like, how many of those are lost, or should we even care? It makes me like, should we care, or it should be like, this is what we're doing going forward. Like maybe we can't try to go back and save you, because I know for me some of it has been like, well, let me take all this light that I received and see if I can talk to a relative, an older relative, and kind of pull them in, and they're not trying to hear it. They're not trying to hear it. So peace, nice to see you.
Peace. I thought somebody said, "Oh, you should turn the camera on." I was like, okay. But what you're saying in terms of do I go back and do I share everything that I'm learning? I think to have that thought, I mean, that's a level of compassion, right? Because in some way it's like, okay, maybe I recognize that they don't have the knowledge that I'm getting, right? So maybe I can go back to them and I can save them. But there's also a point where, sometimes you have to be aware of whom you're speaking to. And there's a moment where you have to decide, okay, do I even waste my breath speaking to people who may not even be receptive to what I have to share? They may not be receptive to divine thoughts or me speaking wisdom. And once you recognize that, it's like, okay, I think I don't know the scripture exactly, but I can't even think of it. But don't cast your pearls
Before
to
swine. Don't
yes.
I don't know which one it is either.
Look, what is there? So, help me out. But
Pearls before swine. I honestly don't know it. Somebody will put it in the chat. Somebody help us out.
there we go. But it's just knowing, like, sometimes, yeah, those elders, they know some things, but they didn't answer the charge. Maybe that's what it is. And it's not about, yeah, you can have compassion and you can say, well, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna try to teach you. But no, everybody has a chance to really answer when they're given charge. It's you decide. You know what I mean? Do you want to be righteous? Do you want to live a righteous life? Or do you want to stay over here with the rest? You chose to stay with the rest. So now that I've come behind you and I've been blessed to receive that divine knowledge, what am I going to do with it? Am I going to keep going forward? Or am I going to look back and try to, to share it with people who probably just, they done gave up,
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah. The only thing I care about is keeping my eyes on the creator. And you know what? There was something as you were speaking, it was the evolution. That's what came to mind. Where it's like, yeah, I'm coming behind you. So now because you decided that you weren't gonna, do well, oh, we lost in the sequoia. Okay, well, when you're ready to come back, just pop up. Um, you know, I'm behind you. So now I have to be that evolution. And it's not going to be whatever it is that you set down, because whatever you were setting down, you weren't being wise about it. So now I have to be that evolution and take it to the next level.
so we
Okay.
can use them as a point of reference.
Mm.
We can still observe and be aware, okay, this is where maybe the holes were in my bloodline. And you can come in and you can, say, okay, well, it's not going to be that anymore. Now that I have this knowledge of I know, what to apply and what to do so that this doesn't continue into the generations that succeed me,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think it's in Bloodline and Redemption where he talked about, like, we have to redeem ourselves from those generational curses, like, or those things in our bloodline that will hold us back, like, because they exist. And so it's up to us to kind of do away with them if we really want to, if that's what we really want, where we really want to be. We do have a question. Chief asks, and Ima Sequoia, this question is for you too, so you can hop back.
Where she go?
Or any of the sisters who are in the chat, you're welcome to come and, to the ladies on the panel, how do you think your past traumas affect your view what is good, or view of what is good and what you desire in an older or elder? What is good and what? Oh my gosh. That was like does not
Let me think 7 times before I answer.
right. I said panel, not chat. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I added on. I apologize. Didn't say panel. All right, so go ahead, get your behind back up here. I think the past traumas, the past traumas are connected to thoughts and feeling and emotion. And depending on how I processed that emotion from that trauma, something's in the way. Depending on how I process that emotion from that trauma, that's how it, tints the lens, I guess, of what I'm viewing as good. If I'm still carrying, for example, for the good part, if I'm still carrying this trauma, these thoughts of this trauma was bad instead of this was something to learn from. This was bad, right? Anything that I perceive as the opposite of that bad or that evil or that, whatever that trauma was, that gives me the opposite feeling, is how I'm going to perceive what is good. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm saying I think that's how it affects if I'm still carrying some of that. And then it's like, and yes, and then, it will carry over into what I desire in older or elder. But if I'm moving correctly and more mature in like thoughts and feelings and emotions, I should have a more sober view, or would have a more sober view of what that should be, and not necessarily what I desire, but what is needed in an elder.
Well, I think about trying to look at those traumas from all sides. Not necessarily just what the end result might have been, but considering, like you said, what was my train of thought, surrounding that specific trauma. And I might have to come back to that. Let me think 7 more times.
Okay, all right. So go ahead. You had some time. Go ahead.
I have to think some more times too. But before I dropped off, I did want to speak to the point about trying to like convince people of the truth that you've come into. Like I had to change my perspective on that as well and look at like, okay, well they have the right to choose, just like I have the choice to choose what I want to listen to and what I'm learning and live in truth. They have the right to choose to live in, ignorance, But as far as the question, how do you think your past traumas affect how you view what is good and what you desire in an older or elder? Well, I just think about Sister Shahrazad and what she teaches, like our past traumas, depending on like sometimes what we learn from our mothers can affect what we may receive from an elder woman. So like we may cater, like our traumas may affect us in the sense that we may cater to an elder that is similar to our mother and what our mother has taught us, and may decide like, okay, I desire to listen to this sort of older. That would be older in that case. But I think my screen froze. But yeah, I would say that's one of the ways. I think we gravitate towards the people that feel familiar. But I need to think on that question a little bit more.
I consider maybe my own experiences in the lack of, like, I guess for me, my trauma may have been not having a mother. So my decision on who I thought provided, or who I thought was good, what was good, and who I thought provided eldership was any woman who had children and showed me any form of time, right, or attention, because I didn't get that. So if I don't know what an elder is, or I don't know what is good to begin with, then I'm gonna latch on to whomever may come on my path. You know what I mean? So once you get that knowledge and you're able to reflect back and you say, okay, well, I chose someone to be quote unquote my elder based off of me not having, based off of trauma. But now that I have some sense of knowledge on what an elder should be, going forward, I can choose differently. Like I can choose more wisely on who I would put in that space of elder. So
I would agree.
Back to like, like there has to be a level of discernment and wisdom with us as well, because like she said, like women need women, and we're always going to be surrounded by women older than us and women younger than us, and in whatever position we're holding in that triad, or whatever, we're going to have to discern. If we're even going to have to be wise, so if we're the younger one or even the one in the middle, we have to discern who the best teacher is, where their knowledge is coming from. So it's not even like them having wisdom, it's also us having enough wisdom and discernment to see like, okay, should I be listening? But if they are in your community, then it should be a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
Right.
But that responsibility of having some sense of knowledge, like you still have to, if you want to go on that path, you do have to start on the path. So you do have to start in getting the knowledge. So then when you see someone who is further along on that path, you recognize like, okay, they've been where I am right now. So they can help me, get closer and closer and closer. But it starts also with you starting on that path and getting the knowledge. So yeah.
Good thing.
Right.
Got something, Ima?
I would agree with that. I would agree. Like having knowledge of our culture is going to help us be able to discern like who we should listen to. And if they're in our culture, it's like he said, Achoti Yaffe, it's a no-brainer. Like, yeah, these are the people that I will listen to, and who can judge me and I them. So.
Thank you. We do have another question, but I'm gonna move through. Thank you, Sovereignty says, thank you, Margie Marie. All right, your point goes back to our build on Yom Shishi. Chief responded to a question. We are charged with to be discerning about what is required in the moment. Yep. Some situations don't require a response. I don't know what was said when that comment was given, but yeah, that's true. There have been
I know
plenty
what you're talking about. The part when I said sometimes, oh. The part when I was saying sometimes we want to go back and we want to save our, you know, our relatives who might be older because we come into this knowledge. But if you know who and what you're talking to, you know, does this even deserve my breath? Does it even deserve me speaking and sharing this? You know, so
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the volume up a little bit. Yeah. I said panel, not chat. Don't be. I'm sorry. That was how I move. I was adding words. My bad. Sovereignty says, do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you into pieces. Matthew 7:6. Give thanks.
And did I say that? Did I say that?
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Close to it.
It was real close. Matthew says this topic reminds me of Mark 10:17-19. And when he was gone forth into the way, there came one running and kneeled to him and asked him, Good master, what shall I do that I may inherit eternal life? And Yahushua said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. Thou knowest the commandments. Do not commit adultery. Do not kill. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Defraud not. Honor thy father, thy mother. Question number 2. I'm quick because there's only one. Yahweh constantly redirected all praise to the Most High and attention to the law. You know what? And I'm gonna say that we'll answer the question because I know we're gonna move. That's gonna take up some. We're gonna dig into that question because it's a good question. This is true. And this comment reminds me of a lot of the times when I'm speaking to people who are not following the way or not Anu, it's, the comment is, well, we have grace. The New Testament gives us grace. And I remember saying yeah, but Yahweh never said don't follow the law. And I was like, the grace was for converts. If you're saying you're a Hebrew and you're a child of the Most High, then you follow the law. You're not trying to go for the grace. The grace is just the excuse to do what you want. So thanks for that.
Think not that I've come to do away with the law, but to fulfill it. And what you just said also reminds me, I think I was I reading Mark 4? And I think I was reading Mark 4, but there was a reference where Paul, I think, was talking to Israel, and there was a question that he posed, and the entire time, the people of Israel kept referring back to, well, what did Abraham do? What did David do? They were referring back to the Old Testament. So it's even in the New Testament, it's reminding you still have to go back and reference the foundation. So
yeah. And we do see that throughout the New Testament. Paul is making references from way back and no, this is what it is. So I after doing learning more of scripture and actually having to dig into it so that I have an understanding, I'm so why is everybody trying to run on jump on the grace mobile? It's right here.
I want to be responsible and be accountable. There's still a level of accountability.
Okay, so question 2 for the panel in caps. No, this one's not in caps. What are some things your grandparents did with you as a child that you hold on to today? I do have something, but it's so I don't know that it's like related. It's not. It's I don't think it's related to trauma, but it's something that I hold on to because it happens constantly, and it's literally the memory of my grandmother teaching me how to make a bed. And it even goes into how I fold clothing, like laundry, specifically like bed clothing and towels and sheets. Like that is something that's still with me. Like my mom didn't even teach me that. It was my grandmother. And so by the time I was doing, clothes with my mother, I already knew because mama taught me. So that's one thing that I hold on to today, like as an action, an actual activity.
Mm. It's beautiful.
I was
Experience when I'm making a bed.
Yeah, I would say one thing I remember my grandmother, she was teaching me a lesson of how to receive a gift. She bought me and my sisters dolls, and we were so ungrateful. We was like, "Oh, we don't like these dolls. They're so ugly." And she looked at us like, "You ungrateful." She taught us a lesson like when someone gives you something, you be appreciative. And I remember just feeling super terrible. But like she was like the first person that taught me like how to receive a gift, like you don't accept a gift like in an ungrateful manner. So she was teaching me manners that my mother didn't even teach me. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, okay. you know, that's one of the things I still remember to this day.
Mm. I would say one thing that came to mind when I was thinking about elder, I was thinking about my grandmother also. And I wouldn't say she necessarily taught me this. I would like wake up late at night and my grandma, like it was an old house. So she had like these old kind of thin doors or wooden doors. I don't know if they were plywood or what, but I was known for just not sleeping, never going to sleep at night. So when it was time to go to bed, I would sneak out of the back room and come to the front where her door room was, or the door of her room was. And she would have her door closed, but I would stand by the door and put my ear to the door and listen, because every night, and I did this like every night, but every night my grandmother would pray. And I'll notice one thing, like whenever she prayed, almost every night, she would ask like for protection for her kids, and she would go down the list. She had 11 or 12 kids, but she would speak everybody's name, and would show them some measure of love and, attention, I would say. But that, I guess for me, that taught me like maybe how to pray, and in that moment, it's like reflecting back now, it's like, yeah, when she was praying, she wasn't saying, I want this, I want that, but she was actually thinking of other people. And, so that would be something that I would say. Yeah.
Give thanks. Those are all very nice. And willfully, we answered your question, Chief, and I'm sure you will let us know if we did not. Question number 3.
What did we get into?
For the time in caps.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the elders in your family faced with an adversity and overcome it? How did they do it? How has those elders or situations changed your current worldview? Well, elders in the family. So those answers was they was.
Look, I'm all deep up here praying and
Hey, like y'all. My grandma at work and y'all sleep in bed in my house. It's like this is old. This is tradition, man. Okay, so there's a few questions. Elders. So this one, elders in your family. So this one is, I would say at this point, because I'm thinking like this is pre-Anu, because if you're talking about blood relatives, because the word it is elders. So Well, actually, if it's elders, I'm I knew it's not blood relatives. So elders in my family faced with an adversity and overcome it. How do they do it? And I have to say, so I'll answer from both ways. Um, Based on the question and the words used, I don't know that I can say that I have seen an elder faced with an adversity, um, to know like how they overcame it. Um, I mean, I think we've seen members in our new like faced with different adversities and things. Um, and some older than me. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. And that means that I don't know enough. Ignore the misspoke question. I was drunk in love typing. Huh?
What?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't say that.
and I didn't even see that. I don't know. I don't know. How did they do it? I mean, I have stories about elders who would now be elders in my blood family. Maybe I can pull some, but as far as like elders in Anu, I am not sure about adversity. Well, at least like how they overcame it. I would say like, well, maybe I think I could say like how they overcame it was being, here in Anu and putting their energy here. Um, yeah, and I would say that like putting their energy here, listening to you and understanding that like we have to be fixed on the Most High in order to come through something and to be ready to acknowledge like the teaching from that one place, that one master, that one Jegna, and not letting the world infiltrate. That would be how they do it, how they overcame it. Because I also don't want to, assume that something was an adversity for an Anu member and like be telling, sprouting out business. So I'll say that. And you can let me know if that is what you were looking for. If not, then I will find a example with a blood relative.
Well, what popped in my mind was the question: well, what is adversity? Like, what would be an adversity?
Mm-hmm.
And because for some people, adversity might have been, well, I don't have $1 billion. I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I'm not, you know what I mean? Or so I don't know. My mind went to that. Well, what exactly is adversity? And I can say maybe poverty. I know my family went through poverty, and today some of them, they live in wealthy parts of the city, and they have businesses, and they've been able to acquire things. But when I think in terms of quote unquote slavery, or being a slave to a system,
Mm-hmm.
they haven't overcome that. They haven't overcome that adversity. So I don't know. That's kind of where my mind went in terms of like what would be the adversity that they're overcoming, because maybe at one point I thought that was something to overcome,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe now with newer eyes, I'm looking at it like, maybe that's not really them overcoming anything. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, because immediately I thought like some sort of hardship or struggle. something that was taken away. Like thinking about the word. Yeah. All right. Human Sequoia.
Yeah,
And peace,
I can't say
Sasa
that
Haba.
I've seen an else. Peace. Peace out. Yeah, I can't say that I've seen any elder face adversity. I've seen them struggle and use addictions and coping mechanisms, but never, overcoming something, in a healthy way. So,
That's
yeah,
an interesting point. Like to cope, cope, but have we witnessed anybody truly overcome something? That actually is it. Because I was like, I got some. If it's a blood relative, but then I'm like, oh, maybe not. Like maybe it was just coping. Huh.
Exactly. I mean, and I think about also just, I don't know, when you bring forth life, when you bring forth a new generation, and you think about how sometimes our family might say, well, I want to give my kids what I didn't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, but you giving a new generation something, things that they didn't have, are you really overcoming maybe the mindset of being enslaved to, a certain way of thinking? So
Right.
maybe you haven't overcome that just because you've acquired material things.
Right. Because that poverty mindset is still there. Like if we're talking about poverty, the poverty mindset is still there. And then what you end up doing is just living vicariously through your children. And then when they do something or don't do something that's in alignment with what you think, then you got an attitude. So that's
right.
not.
I think the overcoming would be what's happening now in these moments of building with you guys and learning culture and learning like this is the true origin of this particular group of people. So I mean, in this moment, maybe we are the elders who are overcoming the adversity, you know.
Yeah. So I was like, if I'm gonna be, I was like, I got to
Right.
get stuff together. Like, great, just gather it all the way up.
Right.
Because it is, as you said, it is a serious role to take on. It's not just like, oh well, I don't want no kids, and all my kids is grown, so I guess I'll do this. That's just kind of like haphazardly going into something and not really going into something with reverence, for what the role and the title is. So it's like, no, gather it all the way up because you have the tools, gather it up and be able to provide a junior sister what she needs to move forward. Chief said,
Right.
I remember when I broke down what adversity is in a broadcast. I even remember Command the Day 913 breaking it down.
Give
Give thanks, Chief, because I did not call that in the moment. Answers to adversity. Yes, and I think and you know what? Coty Maria did one too. Oh wow, that's bad. Because I literally just went past the creature that was made for it, doing something else and it didn't even. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so we have the link in the chat, so that we'll be listening to that today. But yes, I do. Did we probably did not answer the question. Or a little bit. I know number 2 you said was I. So great for this one. And is there? I don't know. Okay. Well, I guess we'll wait to see if there's another question or another grade. And in the meantime, I did want to maybe ask you. Was there anything that you wanted to share about what was shared about like the example of like the spiritual mother, like thinking of Queen Mother Moore and some of the things that were shared before our questions about like who she was and what she did and like what that spiritual motherhood might look like for you, either as a disciple or you stepping into that role as the spiritual mother?
Say that one more time.
Yeah.
So to share anything, any thoughts you may have on what was shared about Queen Mother Moore. I'll just simplify it.
Mm, I'm gonna pass it over to Sister Sequoia.
Yeah, I don't know much about Queen Mother Moore to speak on her, but I do think about the Marvin Collins story, the movie that we watched. And
Mm,
I do look at her as being a model in terms of what she was doing for the children and the youth, very selfless.
yeah.
And
Mm,
I really love that about her. So I look at her as being a model, and um, yeah, I aspire to be that. I aspire
yeah.
to be that, in my elder years. And I'm definitely not there now, but I definitely aspire to be a woman that's of service in her community in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they were very similar in that way, like just being servants, because a master is also a servant, and they were very similar in that they were servants to their community. And yeah, because they're both transition. They were servants to their community, and they were doing what was needed at the time, and even and the crazy part is like a lot of what they were doing is still needed even at the time. So it's like we can look back at all these situations and say like this stuff is still needed, and then it makes you go back. It's like where what is the hold up, what is the disconnect, what's the problem? And some of it is that lack of, we don't have enough of them moving around, or at least we have, or the voice of the I guess in this point, I would say the adversary. I would say, Satan is, is busy, looking to and fro, looking to for whom he can devour and destroy. And that is, some of it is our minds, like taking it away from being focused on the Most High, like taking our eyes off the Creator and looking at all the shiny baubles and things that, he claims he can give.
Yeah. It makes me think of even coming to an understanding of like giving everything, right? Being willing to answer the call and give everything. And that requires you to be fully present and fully aware of what's actually needed, what you need to be in that moment for, whether it's your community, whether it's your family, whether it's, whatever the work is that you've been brought here to do. Um, so I think even that's a charge. Like, can you be fully present? Can you surrender and be what you need to be in this experience? So,
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I do think about the spiritual mother that she was married. So she wasn't out there, waving her wand saying like, listen to me, but she was married and covered and submissive to her head. So I thought that was a big deal. Because many times you see spiritualists, they're women and they're not covered at all. So
Yeah. Peace,
peace, chief.
Chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, peace. So
well,
y'all ain't answer that question. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Y'all know y'all ain't answer the question. Just a whole lot of slickness, a whole lot of slickery, and the slick has to stop. Okay. And I don't even think, yeah, even Sequoia disappeared. Right. So
Right. Get back over here.
my my
yeah, my
camera is
camera.
jacked.
Right. Yeah, my camera and my phone is the way it works is two different accounts. Right. So I don't even think she did the first question, if I remember correctly. Number one. So what I'm
Oh,
saying is that elders in your family, right? If you've ever seen them face any sort of adversity, now adversity ad means to turn or to come up against, right? When you have the prefix ad, verse is a path that you may be on. So which I've broken down before, so I'm just repeating myself at this point, which I love to do, right?
no,
adversity. Oh, I don't. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting the room know. So now we have adversity, meaning that now we're dealing with moving different directions or being pushed to different directions, right? Um, so if you've ever had, like, let's say you're trying to get a particular thing done.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
About, uh, okay. About you went out and stuff. I don't know what happened. You're on mute if you're talking. We can't hear you. Okay, well, while we wait for the technical difficulties, okay.
What about now? Now, can you hear me?
Now, yes, we can hear you now.
Wasn't no technical difficulty. Somebody muted my mic.
Oh,
Wasn't no technical difficulty. It was conspiracy. Conspiracy to silence the black man. You see what I'm
That's
saying?
it. Keep us from your knowledge. They trying to keep us
Exactly.
up.
right. Trying to
CON
keep us in adult
conspiracy.
legislation.
Who
Yeah.
did that? Who did it?
It was funny because it muted right when Ema Sequoia came back in.
Oh.
Interesting. Yeah, make a mental note. So what I'm saying, yeah, if that adversity has ever come, someone has tried, they're going down a certain path, they're trying to get a certain thing done, and something comes in front of them. Because my question, the premise of the question is, you may have been citing elders since you've been speaking, but what is the qualifications? Have you ever seen that elder under fire? And if you have seen them under fire, how did they respond under intense condition? To be able to say to you now, yo, this is what you should do. You should do this, you should do that. And you give them that level of qualification, even though they may not have, or you might not have even had a culture at that time. But if you did have a culture, they didn't really necessarily meet the requirements of that culture. But what was it that still made you say, yeah, but there's still someone that I can hold to because I saw how they handled themselves in this. And it may not have been one person. It may be an entire family that you might have looked at and been like, wow, this family confronted this, and this is how they pushed through it.
Then I would have to say no. I haven't like seen them under fire in no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I would say even not seeing it was maybe putting a person in that place of saying, oh, elder is more so looking at maybe back surgery. Like if I know, okay, well, this person, quote unquote, overcame maybe being a mother or raising kids to be adults. That's a fact because they have grown adults. But maybe I didn't see where they were in a marriage or in a family setting, and they overcame maybe the adversity of a perversion culture, or the things that come in and try to pull a family apart. I didn't see that, but because they're telling me, oh, I overcame such and such, and I raised my kids to be grown. I'm a mother, so then I'm like, well, they must know something because they are a mother. They did birth kids, and their kids are grown now. So maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they know their experience, but then because it makes me think of the similar. I've seen, the single mothers and raising children, but because it was, like you said, like perverted, it wasn't done correctly. So it's actually like a succumbing to the adversity or just surviving, scratching through it. and not necessarily a thriving, because there wasn't the four hands as opposed to, um, it was just like I did this to make it. So it wasn't really an overcoming.
Yeah. So then, because even when you talk about the single mothers, like when I see a single mother, I don't always see someone who's struggling to get into university. I mean, I'm looking at, is this person a fool?
A
That's
failure.
kind of the first question that goes in my head. Is this a fool who chased the man away, or is this a deadbeat mother who just had sex with any old body, any old dirty penis fool, and then had this child, and now the child is going to be screwed up because this is a deadbeat, right? So I don't think those, sometimes it's the adversity of our own stupidity, but the thing about adversity is that I'm moving to a certain direction and something impedes that. So that's really the key. So yeah, I get married and I have babies, and you see me with the babies. That's not a proof of me overcoming adversity. Maybe nothing got in the path. Maybe it was smooth sailing the entire time. But again, just looking at how you're qualifying people who you listen to. Again, if people have not been tried and tested in war, then you really don't know if they're sitting back and kind of guinea pigging their ideas with you
Mm,
and living vicariously through you. Oh, you should do this. Or when I was your age, I wish I would have did this, but I never did it. This would be a good thing for you to do.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
And then when you fail, they could say, well, hey, that's what life is about. You do things, you try and you fail, and you get up back on the horse and you try again. I got another idea for you. I got something else I want you to always do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
Like
know
a lab rat. What we gonna do
right.
tonight, brain?
Exactly. You
Right,
like
right.
freaking Morty. That's how Morty is in Rick and Morty.
Right.
Morty's always making him do all these weird things, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, yeah, I might not know about Rick and Morty, but but so that's what I'm saying. It's like you living vicariously, somebody does. Through people. So sometimes people who you might call elders or olders or my mentors, you hear all these words, but it's like they may just be pushing theory through you, but not actually pushing anything that they've ever applied and integrated to be able to even say like, yo, you can go do this, but it's going to turn out bad, but do it
mhm.
anyway because you need to see what that's going to be.
Which is putting the two before the one, right?
It
Right.
no, it could be no, that could be putting the one before the two because I'm telling you it's going to be bad. Yo, what happened? Lights went out.
Uh,
hmm Yeah, that's putting the cell phone bill before the power bill. Mhm.
Oh
A phone, but she ain't got
no.
no lights. So yeah, go show off. My fan worked. So that's what I'm saying. But like now, like sometimes there's certain situations. There's plenty times I talk to young men and I
Mm-hmm.
try to tell them a certain thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I know they're not gonna listen. And I'll say to them, "Look, I'm gonna say this to you, but I know you're gonna do whatever you feel like doing. I know you are, but I'm gonna still tell you what this is. Now go ahead, do your thing. But after you fall on your face, I'm gonna tell you now ahead of time how to get back up."
Mm-hmm.
You see, so that's sometimes, yeah, you'll have the knowledge, you'll have the, as an elder, you may have something integrated inside of you that and you might share that, but at the same time, even though it's integrated, it doesn't mean that someone is not still going to live out that particular thing. It doesn't always pull them to the left or to the right. And as an elder, you know when it's not going to pull them to the left or to the right. You know ahead of time. But some things still ought to be said. Like when I asked the third question, I knew you wasn't gonna have an answer. But what I also know is that I'm on the phone with people who have elders in their family who are cancer survivors. I'm on the phone with people who have people in their family who overcame great economic hardship. Didn't even really have a place to be. I'm on the phone or the line. I'm not on the phone, but I'm on the line with people who had parents who, struggled through living in inadequate housing and getting through that. But I knew y'all weren't going to give any of those answers. You're going to sit and say, I don't know. I didn't see any. I didn't see any kind of thing like that. Just growing up, uh, yeah. I mean, what do you think, the sisters? Give thanks. Yeah, I knew that's what you was going to do.
Well,
Okay.
I can say that I do have family members. My parents, they overcame, adversity in the sense of like they came from not having a home to eventually obtaining a house, going from homelessness to having a house. So, and yeah, they did push through that. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely not the first thing that came to mind. Like,
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the thing that came to mind. Also, was how did they get through it, and how did that affect your worldview? That didn't come to mind either.
no.
Yeah, because I'm referring to the 1/3 answer I just got. Now I understand that the woman is covered 3/4 and fourths, and the earth is covered 3/4 and fourths by water, by wisdom. I get that. And when we say 120, we're dealing with 1/3 knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I get that part. I get it.
Uh-huh.
But I asked for a full cipher. Unload the clip. Kadow! See what I'm saying? And I just got 1/3 of an answer.
Sequoia,
You see?
that's you.
This is why y'all
Yeah.
always want to be in charge, but you can't be in charge. This is why you cannot be in charge.
Yeah. I would say it affected my worldview in the sense that I did look at my parents like that they're strong in that sense to be able to overcome and go through everything that they went through in terms of like um well, they were like living in, from shelters to move into transitional housing to eventually move into an apartment and then eventually moving into a home. So I was able to see, that progression and how they went from each stage to the next. And I always thought they're strong, even though they had issues and they were struggling and using different coping mechanisms. I did view them like, yeah, there's some strength there. And so I did that shaped my worldview in a sense that a person who is strong, they're able to overcome adversity and they're able to push through. So for me, like I always like took pride in the sense like, this is where I came from and I was able to, this is my background. So to me, like it symbolized a certain level of strength to be in the place that I am now. Um, I never thought about that question, or even like looked at it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say so. I'm the one with the family members that are cancer survivors. So, my father was diagnosed with some. So, um, he had a form of cancer that's like it's a blood and bone cancer. I won't even get into like what it is. So there's not like a specific like tumor to target. It's places, and it was like throughout the spine, and it kind of goes into the bone and whatnot. And it just kind of came out of nowhere. Well, I'm sure there's a reason if we kind of figure it out. But like it kind of came out of nowhere, and the way that like how he did it, he actually turned to prayer. And it was interesting because he grew up Catholic, but like we didn't grow up in that way. We didn't grow up religious. I did come from a um, cross cultural union when it comes to um, religion. It was a cross cultural union, but he turned to prayer and going back to reading scripture. He also did, I guess, in his way, like seek. You know, I don't know the right word. I wouldn't say solace because that's just not who he is. He's very like, you know, very stoic in ways. So, but he, you know, I think he got comfort from like family and us being around and supportive. And of course, like we he did you go through like the allopathic or conventional medicine. So there was like a round of chemotherapy and um marrow transplant, like but what they call autologous. So it wasn't harvested from another person. They actually harvest his own stem cells to create to eradicate cancer cells. And so we went through that, and that was really difficult to watch and see that happen because you literally take your immune system down to nothing. Um, and so that was like some of the practical ways of how he did it. How has it changed my current worldview? Um, something I don't, something interesting happened, and it's kind of like so in the middle of like going through all that, like even in like recovery, which you don't really like, you know, they we don't use the word remission, like because you know he's just in a process where as long as like you know in the cancer world, like you know once they you know they get rid of all the cells, like and they don't see evidence of disease, you just kind of keep going back for scans, and it starts like you know okay every month and every 3 months, every 6 months, and then until it gets to the point where it's like all right you're good, but he doesn't go back for scans. He probably has scans like twice a year, and it's just always like just making sure like everything's good. And but in the middle of that, or like toward the like as we were coming down, he was coming down off of the like into like the recovery. My grandmother, my paternal grandmother, his mother got sick, and it was just like out of nowhere. That was out of nowhere, and it was the brain tumor. She did not survive, but I remember having a conversation with my father that, and it was a thought that I had that I never revealed to him. And then one day he revealed it to me, and we thought the same thing, because she would pray a lot. And then she got sick, and then all of a sudden he got better. And so we both thought, like, had this thought, like, did she like bargain, like, and trade in her life for his, like, or whatever life that she would have had left, so that he could continue on and do whatever it is that he needed to do. And so I know that was a one way that he kind of got through things as well. And then there was like a bout with prostate cancer, but then he got through that. And so I do always attribute it to like the Most High. It's not just like, oh, I did it on my own. Like I've always thought like, no, the Most High is watching out for him, because like that's like a double whammy, and he's still here. So yeah, I think that was all 3 questions.
Well, I guess it's my turn. Hold on, I had 2 kind of examples pop in my head. One went back to family. The other was a story, I've shared this story, but it was a story of a family that was from like Mexico and them being in America and trying to maneuver. But I guess I'll talk on the family one. Well, I would say a lot of like seeing a lot of aunts and uncles, I guess, kind of overcoming a spirit, I would say a spirit of alcohol, right? Like alcoholism. Like that was a very prevalent trait in my family. And in fact, both of my grandparents passed away very young because they were alcoholics. And of course, from that, my entire family struggled, living in poverty, like my aunts and uncles and everything. And so I guess them overcoming the adversity was like when you see, when you do come around, you see that some of them, they have surpassed that age that my grandparents lived. Like I think they may have lived 60 or maybe 50, 58 years old, very young. And to have aunts and uncles that are 75 and 80, they've surpassed, you know, that age that my grandparents were at when they passed from cancer, you know, because of drinking. So them overcoming it, but part of them overcoming it was, one, I mean, they were cognitive of, okay, this is what our parents did, and this is how it affected us. And for many of them, part of them overcoming that was recognizing, okay, this is where we came from. What are we going to do different? We're going to choose not to indulge in alcohol because we know that that is very prevalent in our bloodline. And then for them, it probably was also just holding fast to their religion, like Christianity. For them, that may have given them the strength that they needed to not indulge and to not, you know, continue in that cycle. And I would say, how does that shape? What's the second question? How does that shape my worldview?
Mm-hmm. No, the second question was, how did they overcome it? And then the third question was, how did that change your current worldview?
Toda. So yeah, the overcoming would be the making the choice, the being cognitive, you know, and rethinking, going back and thinking, okay, this is what we experienced, and it was because of this. How do we, you know, change that? And their actions, you know, changed. You know, they said, we're going to take this course. And I would say, how did that shape my worldview? Well, I think in some ways you kind of look at people just in general, and you kind of realize, like, okay, everybody has something that they're going through, you know, and it wasn't just your family, but it's all families, you know, like, and especially if we're looking at things from being in this society or Western culture, we understand what most of our families have come through, you know, in terms of the transatlantic slavery. So I think maybe there's a level of compassion for all beings in the world, you know, because I think everybody is going through some form of adversity, and they're trying to overcome it. So I would say that that's my final answer.
How we do.
Yeah. I don't think I gave too many details as far as how my parents was able to overcome the financial situation that they were
Definitely
in, because I
didn't.
didn't really know. Yeah,
Because you
I
said,
don't
yeah,
really
they
know
got
how they.
housing. So then that was a bad example. Throw it all out.
Okay.
Yeah. If you don't know how the person got from A to Z, then, you know, how did they go from you know, this adverse, they were going on a path, something came in the path, and then you went to sleep and woke up and like, oh, we home. You pulling it into the driveway.
Right.
You know what I mean? See, that's how you create that parental mysticism. So then when they do something wrong later, you be like, I can't believe they did this. I can't believe it. Yeah, it's all belief because you wasn't paying attention to the actual process.
Yeah.
You weren't watching them problem solve, or when there were moments for critical thinking. You know, and sometimes parents they don't do a good job at exposing their children to that, because they feel like, I don't want to bother them with that, you know, but you should, because that's how children learn, through emulation and seeing critical thinking is an important thing. So yeah, your questions was all right. They was all right, but you know what I mean?
Now, just us through that, because I would never have shared that ever.
Yeah, I know, but you know,
Yeah.
you gotta pull it out. You know what I'm saying? Just like when we're studying scripture, we have precepts. We build precept upon precept upon precept. You know, and the Most High says, when anything you do, you have to do it in the presence of witnesses. So your life is a witness to what you're teaching, and what you're teaching is a witness to your life. So you just can't throw a teaching out there and leave it out there and be like, yeah, A, B, C, D, D, do this and that. You know what I mean? Then you be free. Like that's not going to work. Like what bears witness to that? You know? So
Right.
like the Most High said, let there be light, and then saw that it was good. Right? Not just let there be light and then turned his back, was like, all right, let me go over here now. You know, I'm on lunch.
Right.
You feel me? It's like let
Yeah.
there be light. Oh, it's good. Cool. Now we're gonna work from there. So there has to be witness. Even let us create man. There's witnesses. There's
Mm-hmm.
always a witness. You know, when the Elohim is always a witness. So there has to be a witness in everything that you speak. That's why it's even important that when the sisters are building, that the sisters are building, that there be another sister come and add on to the cipher. If there's one sister doing a presentation, let two sisters do a presentation. Let three sisters do it. So there's always someone to bear witness to what it is that you are saying. You know, because you might if I say, yeah, Achoti Yaffe, what value? What's so good about you? I don't see nothing good about you. And you might be like, well, outside of me being able to take two fabrics and turn it into one head wrap, which is a talent, outside of that, and make a pattern, I'll be teaching the people. And I might be like, I ain't never seen you teach the people them. And then of course Margie Maria, Ema Sequoia jump be like, I saw it. I bear witness to the fact that this woman has reflected this knowledge and information, is shown and proven that she has added on value to humanity. You see? So yeah, Ema Sequoia
She
stood. So the first question she ain't really
literally,
messed with too much. Then she froze the whole live. Now she's just a vibrating picture. Her face ain't even up there. You feel me? And then the
oh
third
my
one,
goodness.
her answer was kind of fugazi. You know what I mean?
Answer the question now.
We
I
are
don't
here.
remember the question.
Wow.
What was the
This is
first
why y'all
question?
can't be in charge.
Question number one. Oh, I can't even go up that
Look at
far.
you.
I can't see
Question
it. The
one.
Y'all
question
to be
for the
ashamed of
comments.
yourselves.
This is question number one. How do you think your past traumas affect how you view what is good and what you desire in an older or elder?
Okay. I would definitely say my traumas of experiencing and witnessing my parents, suffer through drug addiction and just like in poverty, definitely shaped my view in terms of like if I saw an older, you know, struggling with the same, I wouldn't consider them to be an elder. So I had a negative view on, you know, struggle with those same issues as my parents, um, because that experience was traumatizing for me to witness my parents struggle in that way. Um, so
That's a
I
good
would say
answer.
like when I look at
No, don't stop. It was good. I'm amening. Amen.
Amen.
That
oh,
means you keep going.
A light bulb
okay.
just went off. I just had a
Mm,
light
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say like when I see an older person struggling that way, I'm like, oh man, what do you have to teach me? My parents that couldn't help me, so what could you do? So I would look for older people who are, living the life, quote unquote. But like being an Anu, I do look at older and elder as being different. So now I look for an elder who does have those principles. Where they're connected to Yah and they're of the same culture, you know, as opposed to an older who like gives terrible advice that's not based, in my culture. So I'm able to see like the difference, like in that sense, um, in terms of what the older person is teaching.
Okay. She ain't done.
What?
Third question. She got to do it over.
Oh, what was
Yeah,
the,
I don't
what
want
was the
Chief on
third
the live.
question? Can you-
Third, yeah, I'm gonna find it.
My
Third,
Chief got to come on the live. This for the sisters.
with the S's, all those S's.
Sisters.
Have you ever seen the elders in your family face? Well, I wouldn't consider the elders in my family to be elders, but um, I have seen my parents face adversity.
Then have you ever, if you don't consider them to be elders, did you consider them at one point? Was there a unified culture in the family where their elderhood was qualified?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then they're elders. They just may not be your current elders because of where you're at, but they are still elders. All right, let's break it down. What you got?
I would say that I witnessed they had a united stance and a united front when it came to other people like relatives coming into the family and trying to dictate what should be done. So they were always united. When my mother would always say like, "No, my husband said this, and that's what it is." So they had an agreement that that was the family culture. They didn't let blood relatives come in and try to dictate. I did notice that about them.
Mhm. That's it.
Me, I would say that shaped my worldview because I took on the same mindset in a sense. Like you don't allow relatives to come into your relationship and come into your family business. Like you keep them out. And what is free within the family. That's the culture of the family. That's what it is. You know?
Mm.
But yeah, that's it. I might have to think about that question some more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That
you
one's a
might.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
All right. I'll mute out.
No, just kidding.
You know,
And another thing.
And another thing.
I had like a light bulb moment. I'm like, okay, that I kind of went back to the proverb, and I thought like temporary security, like sacrificing. Let me go back in my notes because I know I'm gonna tear it up. Temporary security rather than basic liberty.
Mhm.
And I thought like even sharing those things, like we all three like went to, I don't know, something else when there were these
Right.
truths, that we could share, but like to be secure, and like I don't even know like if it's ego or like not, or being sheltered or trying to shield ourselves from fear of sharing or fear of having people, at least I'll speak for myself, having people know certain things, that's that temporary security, but and it was sacrificed until it was pulled out of us, that liberty, like now I'm like, now is it not, I'm free, like now I've shared, and like this is what it is, this is the reality, this is the truth, and this is how I've seen someone go through adversity, this is how I know it can be done because I've witnessed it myself, and like I said, I would have never shared that story, but now it's out, so it's like okay.
Yeah. And we're on a public platform as well. So it's kind of like, you're sharing, your business. So a little nerve wracking.
Oh, come on, y'all. Yeah, don't be
I-
so boring.
No.
It's not even real business. Oh, my parents had this, or there's a little chance. So what? Who cares? That's not even interesting, first of all. Like, you think I'm hearing Yaffe's father's cancer story, and I'm like, ooh, spill the tea, girl.
No, not like
Oh
that.
yeah, cancer, homelessness. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what I want. Give me more of that tea. Like, come on, you can't be boring. And then public platform. Who cares? Who cares about these people? You see what I'm saying? You can't be so affected by. See, that's when you falling for that mystery spook. Because who exactly is looking at your family story and laughing and saying, "Oh, she's a dirtbag. Look where she came from." Who? You can't
Nobody.
name no one name, right?
Who
And
cares?
that's because y'all went to church when y'all was little and prayed to a mystery sky god. So now you have this ideation in your head that there's always something big and ambiguous outside of you looking at you and judging you. So if it's not the mystery sky god, then it's the mystery people who are watching this live right now, are gonna watch it. You don't even know who. You see what I mean? You can't be that's spookism. You see how it creeps in to your worldview and how you start to frame the world through spookism, and you become self-conscious of things that don't even exist. You looking for the cat in the room and it ain't even in the room. You see? No one, I guarantee you, no one listening right now was like, "Ooh, I know that's the," because that wasn't even deep information. That didn't go, oh, my father had cancer, he got sick, he prayed, he read the Bible, he got better. What does that really tell? It doesn't tell us anything. Oh, my parents, they were homeless and then they went and got a house. Okay. Like this, so you got to get out of that mystery spookism, man. What matters is this moment. And in the moment, there's a cipher of truth, and you pour truth into that cipher, and then you build and you expand from there. F the rest. You know what I mean? F the rest. Public platform. I don't give a goddamn about the public. Public can get these gonads. You understand what I'm saying? What you open up your eyes for? This is my channel.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. I don't think you could pull that one
Right.
off.
People live in the
Yeah.
moment.
You got on glasses. So that ain't really your get down. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, y'all got to get out of that mystery God stuff, and bring the truth as the spirit is pouring it through you. What's more important than that? Public perception? And you don't even know what public is perceiving, or if they can even perceive. What can they even understand half the things that are being said right now? When we say what is good, do they really even understand what that means when we say what is good? So you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Don't worry about that, man. Do y'all know what it means? What is good?
Good. Good.
Well, then
See, look at
like
that. See?
Is good.
Go ahead, go ahead, so let's see if she can save it.
Go ahead.
is it the good is the gut is the God?
Yeah, y'all already said
Isn't
that.
it the L, the
What
God?
does that mean, though?
Okay.
That is good. Well, from what I said, when you broke down the meaning of God in one of your videos, you said
Yeah.
the means something that has power and influence over you.
Yeah, but I said what is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I said Yah is good.
Peanut butter is good, especially when you put it on bananas. I mean, come on.
Good is relative. What's beneficial or right or acceptable or desirable in the moment. But the truth is, what Yah says is good is good.
I would say now is good. Being in the moment. This is good.
Really? That's what you would put on your test paper
Does it
and
have to
expect
be?
a passing grade?
That's a good answer.
Teacher, I'm in the moment, teacher. 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 I need this class to pass. I'm in the moment.
Understand what good is.
Right. What else we got?
Is it Yah's intention? Like us moving in alignment with the will of the Creator. That's good.
See, y'all
That's what
just
I would
gonna
say.
throw anything in there and say that's good.
Oh.
But wasn't that like this? The show was about what's good,
Mm-hmm.
Scrooge.
but
Yes,
Scrooge McDuck. Did somebody just say Scrooge McDuck is good?
Sequoia said it.
No.
Snitching is oh my god.
Nah, I did not. I said
She
true.
ain't about that life. Told you. Don't do no missions with her.
I didn't know
I can't go
it
to jail.
She didn't say that. She didn't say it.
Mm-mm. Okay, so let's make it easy. What's the first time that we saw an instance of good in scripture in Bereshit?
When he said he saw the light and the light was good.
Right. So Elohim saw the light. It was good. It was good. And Elohim divided the light from the darkness. That's the first time we saw it. So that's where your definition should have began, right? So we know that Elohim saw the light, but we know before that it says, and Elohim said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Right? So if I say "let there be" and then there is, why would I have to say "and then there was light" after Elohim already said "let there be light"?
Because I would say you seeing it as you actually sitting back. You put something out there and then you're seeing, like you're testing it to see, does this actually produce something that I needed to produce, or like what I'm putting out there. It's like a I want to say like a hypothesis and testing the theory and
Somewhat, but not enough. What else you got? Sovereign Eats. System Ray says good is what is to our benefit and indicates something successful. Terrible answer. Take that off the screen. Take that off. Take that off.
Okay.
Oh.
I guess already.
That's sisterhood, though. She came in there for you. What else you got?
Oh, snitching is not good. Sometimes.
Oh, there you go. Mm-hmm. They keep me out of jail. I can't be sweet meat in the jail. I'm too sweet. Ladies be all over me. So come on. He said, Elohim said, "Let there be light," and there was light.
yeah. So he's sitting back and he's testing what he just brought forth.
No.
What he no. Mm.
What I said was actually done. Let there be light, and there was light. The light is good because it came to fruition.
Right. So that means that when Elohim said, "Let there be light," that was mental. So was the light mental?
The light was a projection from the mental, from
From a thought.
Okay, came from thought.
Yes.
So that means it was two different lights, is what y'all telling me.
No.
Well, I think it's what was
Okay,
on the
Imanaya says, "Peace, Chief, you, y'all sisters, and everyone. Good is something worthy of being kept." Nah. Don't even put. Get it off. Get it out my sight. Get it out of my sight.
She tried to.
That was something better.
Because she's gonna piece me up. That we's going. Nah, ain't no peace till I get the right answer.
Not two different lights. The light on the outside is a projection of the thought.
You think so? So if it's the projection of the thought, then that means the light is a thought.
I mean, creation itself is a projection from thought. So anything,
Okay.
everything we're seeing is.
So then that would mean there's two different creations.
Okay. Yes. Then we're gonna. I'll go with it. Yes. Yeah. Like one that I'm thinking, and then the other that is coming to fruition.
It's manifesting.
Manifesting.
One that I'm thinking. One What is 1 in our supreme mathematics?
Knowledge.
What is 9?
Born manifestation.
Okay.
Born.
So if I go from 1 to 9, I've born knowledge. Because what comes after 9?
Cipher.
Knowledge cipher. So now
Yeah,
I've born, my knowledge can be put into the cipher because it's been born. So knowledge cipher was the Most High looking and saying, oh, and there's light. I thought it, and now there it is. So there's 2 different lights. There's a light that existed in thought in the mind of the Elohim, and then there's the light that existed in the physical plane. Correct?
Yes.
So light would be formless or formed.
It's formless when it's in thought and formed when it manifests.
Good. So then it says, and Elohim saw the light that it was good. What would that mean?
He understood. He had understanding of what he just.
Keep
What was
going around the room. What we
manifested.
get? What we got?
Oh, okay. I throw my brick in.
There was an understanding of that light, that knowledge.
Okay. Everybody saying the same thing?
I didn't catch it what she said. But
I said there was understanding of that knowledge. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got that. So good.
I forgot the question. I'm gonna go with what was said previously.
Oh God.
Sorry.
You going what was said. Marjorie ain't got no lights. Even Sequoia ain't got no camera.
Can you say let there be light so the lights come on?
I'm just saying.
If you say it, the lights will come on.
You must be cold. Maybe the heat seeker ain't picking up on your signal.
There you go.
And
Let
even
that
Sequoia, she dialed in on a doggone Ericsson phone. So now, okay, so boom. So we have, here we go. Our new radio says he saw that the image of light made it through the creation. Okay, good. All right.
Oh,
Yeah, she's up on the board. She's on the board. One point for team Anu Womb. Okay, the sisters get their point. Good.
Point the game.
you got lock it in.
Oh, there was
About
another
time.
one. Tyrese did say something. She said
Elohim was able then to perceive the light. Okay, exactly. Even though I've
Your
already
boy.
explained that. Yeah, but now y'all riding off of what I broke down. But okay, I give you the point.
I think
So Elohim saw the light. Right? Now, why is that a critical statement?
Because is he bearing witness to what it is that he.
Well, Elohim saw the light. It means that he has faculties like sight.
Uh-huh.
They
So
have
that
faculties.
takes us to Deuteronomy 4:28, right? Is what you're getting ready to say? Somebody's gonna put Deuteronomy 4:28 in the chat. Come on, Deuteronomy 4:28.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat when you get it. Or put it in the chat or when you feel it. Put it in the chat. Come on now, put it in the freaking chat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Deuteronomy 28.
The robot.
You shall serve.
So
He said put in the chat, Ima, not
In
read
the
it.
seat. That's why y'all can't be in charge. You see? Don't follow directions. And there, our new radio, she's on the trigger. And there you shall serve gods or Elohim, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. So when it says, and there, we got another one, sovereign. There you will worship man-made Elohim of wood and stone, which cannot see, hear, or eat or smell. Naya, no, y'all ain't have to retract it because these are 3 different translations. So it's good that you got all 3 up. Naya says, and there you shall serve gods or Elohim, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. That's obviously talking about artificial gods, artificial Elohim, right? But that's talking about spook gods. because they can't smell, they can't hear, they can't eat. So that's telling you that your Elohim is actually built like you, or you're built like it. It has a whole face and all of that, digestive system and everything, if it's able to eat. But the God that you've been praying to all these years in church ain't got none of that. You've been praying to a cloud of smoke, right? So now, taking that information and we go back. See, you see now, why did I pull that scripture?
To bear witness to the
Thank
point
you.
that you.
There's got to be something that bears witness to what I'm saying, or I'm making up stuff. That's called our precepts. So Elohim saw the light; it was good. Elohim saw the light, so that means Elohim saw, meaning, and that the word that's used there is ra'ah in the Hebrew. Ra'ah means to see, right? So Elohim saw the light, and it was good. So that means there was form. The light is actual form. For me to see it, because we already have proof from Deuteronomy 4:28 that the Elohim that you served before you got cursed had actual 5 sense faculties. And now the one you serving is just a mystery. It don't eat, it don't do nothing, it don't smell nothing, none of that. Right? So it's a ghost basically that you make up, like the Holy Ghost. So now this one here has the ability to see form. So what is good?
Sight, being able to see.
No.
The
And
manifestation.
Elohim saw the light that it was good.
Oh, it is good. It being form, the form.
It's the, yeah.
The
Form.
manifestation. Oh,
The manifestation of divine thought is good, but form is the manifestation. So what is good? Form is good. When was man good?
When man was formed.
it's in their image.
Man was made in the image of Elohim. Were they good then?
Yes.
Something happened to that.
Genesis 1:26. And
Yeah.
Elohim said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them.
Yeah,
But when we
I
go
don't.
to 31, and
Mhm.
Elohim, so now let's go to let's just keep going. Because y'all,
Mhm.
the more of this y'all get, the better. Maybe it clean some of you up. And
Okay.
Elohim said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life. I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
So Doma was good, but within context of everything that was made before.
Then it was very good. Then man was very good. All things were very good when they were formed together and working in unison.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
because they responded to an order. When he said, "Let us make man," he said, "You'll have dominion over the fish." Da, 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 da. So the order which created formation is good. Let
Or
let there be light. One. Then there's a light process. Two. Light comes into formation. Three. That's the order. So that's good. Let us make man in our image after our likeness, and they'll have dominion over the earth like how we have dominion over the galaxy. And when that order is followed, oh, that's good because there was a formation. So now when somebody asks you what's good, what do you say?
order.
Manifestation of thought. of y'all's thought. What's formed is good.
That's what y'all all saying?
The manifestation of creator's thought is good.
Yeah, you next.
Well, I said order earlier. I said order.
Oh, you had the small answer. Okay. Mhm.
Order.
Yeah. Okay. So manifestation of the creator's thought coming into form is what's good. So if I fall in love with pepperoni pizza and I eat so much pepperoni pizza every day that I blow up to 600 pounds, is that good?
No.
No,
Why
no,
not?
no. That's not in.
That's a distortion of the original form.
Mm-hmm.
And formed at 600 pounds.
Form is my form is not to be 600 pounds, you're saying.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That's
So if
To you weren't created to carry all that weight.
okay, wasn't created to carry all that weight. So if I look at like all of if I see that I have a certain brilliance within myself that's been given to me by the creator and I decide to have a bunch of children, all willy-nilly, is that good?
No.
Why?
well, if it's willy nilly, I'm taking it. It's outside of any cultural order, but it's not. It is good to be fruitful and multiply.
Well, I would say it wouldn't be good because if you're doing something willy nilly, that means you're not following the order that has already been laid out before you, of which you should be following. So if you're doing something willy nilly, you're not being and functioning in as a reflection of the Most High or as the Elohim.
Okay, even Sequoia just knocking on her phone
I
receipt.
was,
What are you, a hostage?
I was just saying you're not consciously, manifesting what the creator wants if you're doing something willy-nilly.
Okay, now can you sisters tell me the
So
exact definition of willy-nilly?
Nope.
With
unconsciously doing something
I heard
with
that
no
laugh
thought.
at the end. Uh-huh. Y'all seriously going in front of the public going to give a definition of willy-nilly?
Nope. I'm not. I did not. I did
Willy, coming from the French, willy, and nilly,
not trying to find willy nilly.
willy, nile, like now, the river. Okay. So yeah, it goes all over the place. Oh, willy-nilly. That's where it came from because all the twists and turns in the water.
Nelly,
Okay, so now let's talk about when the Most High said, well, this is when Yahuwah was now speaking. Yahuwah Elohim said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. What does that have to do with formation?
Well,
Everything else in formation had a mate or a match before the helpmeet or Isha was created. Adoma was alone in his form, in his creation.
well, I would say part of that. Okay.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say he helps him manifest his thoughts on the earth.
I would say,
What?
I mean,
She said,
the
go ahead. Then I was going to say, oh, what do we got? Oh, we got a delay happening. That's why somebody got their speakers on. That's what's happening, right?
Yeah.
I'm hearing voices come back. Oh, it's Yaffe messing everything up for everybody. Okay, so even Sequoia, can you go again?
Yes, I said the woman helps the man manifest his thoughts on the earth.
All right, well that ain't okay. Whatever. Well, I'm not even giving a point for that, but I won't deduct, but I won't add. What you got, Margie Marie?
So what I was thinking was
Uh huh.
not what I think. Well, based on supreme mathematics. Um, I mean, if you're talking about in terms of creation, we know that man being alone, I mean, he doesn't have a vessel to actually impute his thoughts through. So part of completing the creation is having woman, is having man, woman, and child. So in order for um, manifestation to be brought into, you do have to have a woman, and that is good because that adds on to, to the process of keeping creation going. That's
Yeah, that's what you came up with. What'd you say, Yaffe? What you got? Oh, Sequoia, you jumping back in?
Oh no.
Mm.
I have mine is because there was no match, no mates, whereas everything else created had a way to replenish and procreate, whereas Adoma did not.
I thought about bearing witness. Is she there to bear witness
To the creation.
yes. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe she's there to bear witness to his thoughts, or I mean, because she would be the one who shows and proves whatever he has thought, whatever thoughts he has, she would show and prove by bringing that into manifestation in the child, right?
But she is his subconscious already. She is she is his thought in a way, yes.
So when it says and the Elohim or Yahuwah Elohim, so now we're talking about a different Elohim because in the beginning all of them said, "Let's do this." Now Yahuwah says, "Wait a minute, I see something that maybe y'all didn't catch." So Yahuwah Elohim says, "It is not good that the man should be alone." Now B, oh, go ahead. What you got? Yeah, because y'all try to do that, try to act like y'all got enlightenment while I'm in the middle of my sentence, and then when I finish my sentence, be like, that's exactly what I was gonna say. So yeah, what you
Hey,
got?
it was something in my throat. I just
Right.
touched the air and then, okay.
There you
Yeah.
go. Uh-huh. I ain't think you had nothing. See, fellas, this is how you got to see through the BS. You know what I mean? Or to get all willy nilly. So yeah,
Oh,
can't
yeah.
have no willy nilliness up in here. So what I'm saying is now B means in our Hebrew, B means to breathe. In fact, it means to have a long, yeah. See, you could have rolled on top. You could have got something. You messed it up. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, you messed it up.
Used to.
It means when you have that term be in the Hebraic, it means someone has outstretched hands and they're breathing, they're having a long, long, long breath. That's what being is. Okay. Now, so when he says it is not good for man that the man should be alone, alone in our Hebraic, it means separated. So it's not good that the man should be separate. So now, if we have an acknowledge of something that's separated, then it's an acknowledge that it actually comes from something. It actually already has its own attachment, and somehow it's become unattached from its attachment. Can you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
So
go ahead.
so Adoma was attached to Eve. He had somehow become separated from that part.
Yes, there was already an attachment. Well, there was no Eve because Adoma gave that name.
Yeah,
There
sorry.
was another part of man So man was created in pairs, and the pairs were separated. So Yahoo is like, yo, we need to put the pairs together because it's not good. That word be means to exist through breath. So anything that bees, that breathes is existing according to our Hebraic understanding. But it's also it's the image of someone with their hands up in the air, taking a long breath, meaning I'm receiving what's coming from the heavens. So this person is existing as a heavenly. You got that look like you know something, Yaffe. I think that's your same thing as Marjorie Marie's breath. Oh, so don't give me at the end of this, because I know you ain't even thinking nothing. There ain't nothing going on up there. All right, other than I'm getting on this action. It's too good. It's too good to let it pass by. I'm getting on this. Watch how I flip this. That's what I was thinking. Like, no, you wasn't. Okay. So yeah, I know all the tricks. Let's see what Sovereignty says. So you see how the sisters are more courageous than the dudes. Ain't no dudes saying nothing. The only thing dudes is doing in the chat is cracking jokes. So Sovereignty says, so was part of the pair in form and the other only in thought? Great question. They were both in form and both in thought. They both came forth in form. That's why they were good. So again, let's go back to the phrase that was said, because we're talking about what's good, right? And there was other times that good was used, even when the Most High said, and the gold that is in the land is good, and there is bdellium and the onyx stone. So he's even saying, yo, these jewels and things and whatnot are good, right? And so when Yahuwah said, okay, yo, there's and Yahuwah Elohim, it is not good that man should be alone or be separated. I will make him an helpmeet for him. Right? So, and now make him a helpmeet. That means the substance has already been created, because Elohim didn't say, I will create a helpmeet. The woman is there, she just don't know how to act yet. So I'm gonna make her into what is good for him. But she's there. So you might find a woman and think that you found your rib, but that wasn't the one that was made into your helpmeet. So now, boom. So I thought this was for the panel. Oh, Aki, Zach. Nah, see, I think y'all slick. Dudes think they slick too. And then men like Biddle, I thought it was for the sister hour. We've been over an hour already, number one. We 2 hours, 47 minutes, 25 seconds in, number one. Number two, the questions I have for the panel, I put for the panel. Y'all ain't slick. Y'all ain't slick. So when he said I have nothing of nutritious value to add anyway, nutritional value. You see? Now don't laugh. Don't give him that. Don't encourage him. And I'm laughing. So when he said, and Yahuwah Elohim said, it is not good that the man should be separated. What is that saying? That separation is not a part of our order. So something that is not a part of our divine order is not good. Something that does follow our order, which is thought to manifestation, is good. So when he says that, yo, the man is alone, that's not our way. That's not good. Yeah, you making them that's right faces, Yaffe. What you got?
I was gonna say, so when someone comes and says what's good, the answer should be whatever has come from thought to manifestation. Because
whose thought? It could be Oprah Winfrey's thought. It could be RuPaul's thought. He like, yeah, I hope this branch don't untumble. Because that wouldn't be good if the branch, my dying branch, untumbleth from the duct tape.
Okay.
Yeah, RuPaul old now, man. Ain't no young man. I'm sure he got back in the days. He probably could just tuck it. That's an old man now. Big, long, soggy gonads. He got to take that stuff up. I'm sure.
My mouth.
You don't want to think about it. Answer the question next time. You won't have to get those kind of examples.
Mouth was open. Just look.
So it's not just thought. Who cares about thought? Anybody could do that. it's coming from what is the order of the celestial kingdom? What is the order of the heavens? Are we following the order of the heavens? And if we are not following the order of the heavens, it's not good. If we are following the order of the heavens, it is good. But specifically, Yahuwah jumped in and said, yo, this ain't good. So what is that? That, okay, because y'all looking off to the side. That's an Elohim taking personal accountability when the others didn't. One was like, nah, come on, don't do them dirty like this. One jumps in and says, nah, come on, we don't do that. That's not good. This should be a help me. They, don't separate them. What you gonna do with the other part? You gonna do something else? You see, that would not be good. Singlehood is not good. It's not reflective of the divine order and our personal Elohim. Yeah, Zach, if he's following Zeus, then it would be good. Absolutely. Because that would reflect the order of that person's Elohim's thinking. But their mythology doesn't use the word good. So we can't just apply us to them. We'd have to apply what their word is. It was Socrates who said that the language of the gods is mathematics. And there's some truth to that. And they would say that the language of the gods is virtue and morality, but is our morality and our virtue such because it's the way the gods think, or do we impose that on how we think the gods think? Yeah, a lot of confusion, right? Because their gods didn't really have no real structure, just like they didn't have no real structure. Their gods was borrowing structure.
Right. Well, weren't their God? They were idols. They don't eat. They don't see. They don't.
Oh, they was raping.
This is the pedophilia and homosexual thoughts.
This is the perversion. But that was a step down from Thor. Was a step down from Shango. You see, so by the time it got all the way over to Greece, it's like it's nothing left, just a story. And warlords who were raping people and whatnot, and then ascending to godhood. That's a whole nother story, man. See, that's why y'all get distracted. This segment's supposed to be about what's good. And Amy Sequoia, she logged off.
Right, she did. I was like, well, then that means they weren't gods. They were just man, and it was just stories.
They were gods. Man, you don't think men could be gods?
Yes, king.
Y'all know Beyonce lyrics better than y'all know the scriptures. Yeah, you do. You do. I bet you there's not one chapter in the Bible, not one, that you could recite word for word without screwing it up. Thank you. I don't even have to wait for your answer.
I can tell the story.
My friend, God, he knows.
Exactly. You could mess up a story, but I bet you could tell them Beyonce lyrics.
I can tell you a story. I tell you about Ruth. I know I can do that.
I said word for word. Exactly. So who's your God? All right, I'm gonna mute out, man. I'm gonna let y'all finish this out. You know what I mean? Because y'all just over here looking flabbergasted. So you know what I mean? I'm yeah. What you about to drop some heavy science? Go ahead.
No, I didn't know you were finished because okay. Give thanks so far.
Been finished. I was just asking y'all questions that y'all wasn't answering. That's all.
Oh, okay. Willfully, I can answer them. But give thanks for the question.
Why?
Because it was an opportunity to pour truth into the cipher, like in the moment.
What?
The questions allowed us to explore and stretch beyond what we were, maybe what our thoughts were. It allowed us to see how far we could actually stretch that breath or those arms and receive, What?
All right, that's making sense. So my questions got y'all to see how smart or how dumb y'all actually are. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
That's what you say,
Just,
Marjorie Marie?
just like an Elohim.
Just is that what you're saying? You now you know how dumb you are and how smart you are, but how dumb you are. That's what you're saying.
How smart. You were showing us, you as the original Asiatic black man who has knowledge of himself.
Yeah, I already knew that.
He, he was
I knew all that.
showing us spots on ourselves, like shining light on, parts of ourselves we didn't even know existed. So we were able to
Really?
stretch our thoughts. Yeah.
I knew they existed. It just didn't want to shine light on it. Just trying to keep it in the shadows and keep
Oh,
it
you
hidden.
didn't want to shine the light. So where's your light come from? I didn't know you had light.
I didn't. Well, I
Huh? You
didn't.
just said it. I didn't want
I
to
know I
shine the
said
light
it.
on it.
I
But
slipped.
that's what you meant, what you said, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Yeah, that's not what I meant
What's
though.
wrong with your cheeks, huh? You feeling some pain? Huh? That poltergeist stabbing at you? Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Ow!
Shut your mouth.
No.
Shut your black mouth. She got a white poltergeist. She got a white ghost. Yeah. Her haunting is integrated. Yeah. It's integrated haunting. Shut your black mouth, girlie. Can I get a black ghost, please? Yeah.
Not a
No,
black.
I
Sequoia says in the chat, we learned what the definition of good is. See, that's why I don't be coming on these
I don't
lives,
even
man.
You
down the
came into the
time
space and you
off.
said, "Let there be light."
Yeah, but is anything going to manifest and change after me coming into the space and dropping so much information from Friday all the way up to today? Yeah, see them looks in your faces? Exactly.
Can't you?
Oh, modern day slavery. Oh, modern day slavery. Don't trust them new niggas over there.
Like
What do you think? You take
I
what it.
it's like because it's a push to make sure.
Push. So the most high said, let's push light.
No, it's a directive.
So then he said, and then saw that the light was good. So what am I seeing based on the light that was just shed? Yeah, I know. I just wanted to put that out there for the public listening. Yeah. See, because y'all throw out that give thanks and then move on to the next thing, but don't really digest the main thing and let it expand you outward. Yeah, look, Marjorie going too. Ain't there was nothing over there. Don't believe that. They all left you. There wasn't nothing going on in the background.
It's okay.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, he's about to get on our case. I'm out." Yeah, you see. And then there was one. So that's what I'm saying. It should be. Oh, here comes Amy Sequoia. Come, look at her coming. Sauce sashaying back in the room.
I've been having difficulties with my but I'm back.
This ain't about it. All right, so I'm mute and let y'all rock out. Watch, she coming back for the closure. Yeah, I just came back to give them announcements about the retreat.
Oh, well, I would just say we need to study the mathematics, that's been given already, because I don't understand it quite clearly, and that's evident in not being able to share like what is good, and so
Yeah. So when knowledge is given, then you say I have to then explore knowledge
I have to
because to
apply it.
study and to learn is knowledging something.
I will have to produce and manifest from the knowledge.
So how would you all produce and manifest from the knowledge that was given today?
by producing something that is good.
Okay. Well, what you gonna say, Yaffe? Because you trying to ride off what she's saying, but I feel you. You kind of feel like I shouldn't have to say nothing because I've been here holding it down, and she was jumping on and off. So now it's her turn. Yeah, I know that's what you're thinking because I know how you think. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this one! Look at this one coming back.
We sticking in there.
Uh huh.
But I'm back.
Come back frozen and blurry. If this ain't about her, what'd you say, Yaffe?
I was gonna say to make sure.
You see how you whispering?
I
was gonna say that.
not
Mister, Mister. What you was gonna say?
Okay. I'm sorry. It was like 2 videos going at once. I'm sorry.
And look at her. She got old. And look at what is that? How many megapixels on that phone? Why you think so blurry?
I'm on the laptop. I'm on the laptop.
Oh, I was about to say that's a 2 megapixel joint. I'm on the laptop.
I'm on the cellular phone. What you say what? Come again,
say what now? I'm on the cellular. So we trying to figure out now that this light has been shed and injected into the cipher, and we now figured out that divine form is good. What is the divine form that you will go out now and produce? Right, exactly.
Can you not hear me?
I'm not even gonna say what sound effect that was because it's daytime. It ain't Anu after dark.
I don't know what you.
Every brother on the live right now, their head just turned. What they talk about? I was ignoring it. I didn't hear nothing into that. Yeah, come on. Y'all shouldn't even be laughing at that because if y'all was righteous sisters, y'all wouldn't even know what the joke is. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wise ways and actions. I would say
no. What are you gonna manifest? What's the divine form? Tell me something tangibly. Yeah. See what happens when it comes time to show and prove. Everybody clam up. Y'all just want to be a bunch of bookworms.
Nerds. Can I think about it 7 times? Think about it before I answer.
Thought is extremely fast. It should have already been thought about.
Make sure that make sure that I'm bearing witness to things that I say.
Oh God, boring.
Is that boring?
I'm bearing witness to things that I see, like you said, the precepts. So I make sure that it's always 2 people whenever I get in the Uber.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
I didn't say anything about you.
So manifesting something that is tangible.
Something what? Because the Most High was very distinct. Let there be light. Let there this. That. Y'all saying vague things, so you're never going to create anything if it's that vague.
So I mean, it could even be the way that I present myself. So if I present
that's trash. That's trash.
Gotta be something concrete.
Y'all being lazy.
Go produce a family. Go.
How long that's going to take? We ain't got time to be able to believe you if it really happened. But who going to bear witness? Because that's called a different kind of thing. Threesomes, foursomes, group boys.
But
you want witnesses.
Keep my thoughts pure, Lord.
Yeah, that's that. Keep my thoughts pure. Yeah, y'all over there making these lollipop sounds.
That's not what I was trying to do. I was thinking.
What you got? You see how the jam now comes when we start talking about manifestation. You got the light. That part was done. Remember the Trinity is working in 3 different ways: thought, word, action. Yahuwah Elohim is the thought. Yahweh Shai is the word. The Ruach HaKodesh, the mother, is the action. The feminine part is the active part. I already held down 2 of them. I gave the thought and the word. Y'all can't even do nothing. So what's the action relevant to that? You see why it's not good for man to be alone? Because man works in the community just like the Elohim does. The Elohim is a community, mother, father, son. Father thought, mother action, son word. But Adam was just there alone in the dirt by himself. So right now we have a cipher. So why isn't the cipher able to born anything outside of just these vague ideas? Hey, you let me in on the live. You knew what it was going to be.
um,
Yeah.
because
So,
we have really accepted the light.
Yeah. So what you going to produce?
I have so many things I'm supposed to produce.
Oh, well, just pick one. If you got so many, it should be easy. You could even give a couple to your sisters, a couple leftovers.
Right.
Yeah, now her screen freezing. You see this crap? Yeah. She flicking the router switch. On and off.
Real?
Yeah, it's frozen again.
I don't. Okay. I don't even know
Just
what's
come with your
happening.
answer.
I don't even know.
yeah. That's,
Right. So you can't
yeah.
produce nothing. All right, let's go around the room. Let's see if we got any functioning patch of grass.
Well, you know, my mind went to a piece of artwork. I
Yeah,
cannot take what you just taught me and put it in a piece of artwork.
Yeah,
That
yeah. Life is a piece of art, and you a piece of work. So now what?
Oh,
What do we got?
yeah. I thought about crochet, but then I was like, that's
Yeah,
not
stuff that y'all
really.
already do is boring. Come on now. That's like me saying, I'm gonna go make a song. Ah, come on. You and your nasty songs. Come on. Can
Oh,
we step outside of what we have done? If you've gotten new information and new light, then there should be new production. How you gonna get new light and new information and do the same exact thing? That doesn't make sense. Somebody planted a grapevine and you over here producing pickles. I mean cucumbers. Because I always produce cucumbers. I'm good at producing cucumbers, but that's not what was planted. How will you manifest the divine order so that it can be born, it can be seen? How will you show and prove that the order that you're following is actually the order of Yah? Because we don't know without you manifesting something.
right.
Bring community.
within
I think you're
understanding.
saying Anu Radio being community so that man won't be alone. I think that's what you're saying. But go ahead, I'm listening, sisters.
Start a garden.
Start a freaking garden.
Yeah.
Oh God. I'm gonna go bake a pie.
This is bad.
Yeah, I just keep thinking about teaching what we're taught to younger sisters, and
Yeah. Who? What younger sister? What's her name? Sally Mae?
Mhm.
Where's she at?
yeah,
The bank.
Right. See,
I think so.
Don't you
spookism.
bring back to the community that you're a part
Spookism.
of?
Where they at? You talking about spooks? Those are ghosts. That's like me saying right now, well, I'm gonna go teach the babies. What babies? The babies. All the babies of the world.
But wouldn't
See,
you give back to your actual your community?
like how I'm doing right
I'm
now.
Yeah.
So I'm right now in this moment, I'm showing and proving who I am. I'm done for the day. I'm gonna go get me some ice pops.
Okay.
so wouldn't we acknowledge what you have poured into us and share it within the space? We would just
Mm, yeah. You started adding up. The numbers started looking funny. It's like it's division, multiplication, fractions. I hate fractions. Even Sequoia's getting ready to say something.
Oh, I can't honestly say that I know what I can actively produce something that's tangible based on what was just taught.
Uh huh.
So
Yep. See,
Yeah.
this is good, Achoti Yaffe. So you see how you can teach lessons in many different ways?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good is stuck because good has to let there be light. Then there saw that there was light. I have not seen the light. I have let it because if I say let, that means if I let something, that means it already was there. I'm just opening up a door to let it out.
Mm.
So I know I opened the door. Now there's some sort of adversity. See how we did that?
Way.
That's keeping it from being able to move forward to spread itself out. Are you the adversity? Mm,
Yeah.
Yes.
So then it
Yes.
would be a
Yeah.
question of maybe examining why you are not able to bring that light into tangible form. It would
okay.
require you going back and thinking, rethinking what is happening in the moment when light is being shed on me that I'm not able to fully receive it and then take it and manifest something that is tangible.
So essentially, you saying that y'all are being she devils.
That would be.
I don't know what she devil is.
How's it sound? Does it sound like? Does it sound good?
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
Three she devils.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
That,
good.
or maybe it could be, I don't know, something came in my mind that said, well, what do we all three have in common?
You the thing that y'all three have in common is that y'all don't know the answers to the questions. Ignorance. Triple
That's
I.
now. That's it right now.
I to the third. Mhm. You can't answer the questions. The three of you put three vaginas together and we still can't produce one thing. That's crazy. Hmm.
Yeah,
All right. Well,
it's crazy.
this has been great. I'm here actually just doing some work this whole time. That's why I didn't turn my camera on because I'm working while I'm talking to y'all. It doesn't look like you got any answers, I suppose.
I
Uh,
don't. I mean, I don't have any exciting answers. No more.
Learn what good means today.
What?
I said we learned what good means.
I
yeah, but
don't know.
you don't understand it.
But in order to
Yeah,
understand it,
yeah, we have to
because in
learn.
order
You
to
have to
understand
produce
it, you would
something.
have to go before.
We have to
But in
produce.
So
order
you,
to receive it, we would have
so you don't
to.
understand the Most High's order.
Not yet.
That's why when the order is presented to you, probably never. That's why when the order is presented to y'all, y'all get frozen. I don't know. So that means you look up in the sky and don't even know what the heck you're looking at because you can't follow the order. Let's try this. Let's do it. Let's do some. We'll tune it down. We'll try an easier exercise. Okay. So can you, if we were to kind of visualize within ourselves, we take the same kind of thought form that I gave you, forming something. Would you be able to form something inside of your internal psyche? You know, like it's that what's that game? Sim City, I think, where you can make a whole city digitally. Can you do that inside of your head and create a universe or a world inside of you and manifest those same things that I'm sharing based on the order? So we talk about order, like for instance, I'll take anyone. So Ema Sequoia, when you trying to think of something that would be order. Is this something that you do? Like, let's say maybe it's cleaning, where there's a certain order in the way you like to do things. Like maybe you do the countertops first, or the floor first, or whatever.
Yes,
Okay. What about you, Marjorie Marie? Well, let me, Mr. Coy first. What's the first thing you do?
wash the dishes.
Wash dishes. Marjorie Marie.
For me, I start with the dishes.
Dishes. Achoti Yaffe, empty the oil traps. No, what was you saying? I be frying.
I don't be frying. No, I guess yes.
Wash the dishes.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you visualize going through a process where, because you clearly have a way that's comfortable that you start and that you do things, can you do that internally? If I say let there be light and let there be formation, can you form things based on the way that you are accustomed to forming inside of your internal psyche? Like if I say form a clean kitchen, can
Yes,
you
right.
visualize a clean kitchen, but visualize yourself cleaning it, like inside your brain?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the brain on earth is what?
The devil,
Satan.
Satan. Sorry.
Hmm. So you can't visualize the Most High's order, but you can visualize your own rebellious satanic order. Did you really think I was going to give you another way to get out of answer? No, I just gave you another way to show you how screwed up it is that you can't answer it. Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it. You tricked us. Yeah, that's right.
Give
Hmm.
thanks for the trick.
Right. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it was more than $2. So can you can visualize doing something your own way, and that comes easy to you. But when we talk about what is good, you get stuck because you're more invested in what is not good, what is your own order.
Mm.
So in all things, do unto the glory of the Most High. So even when you cleaning up your kitchen, you need to be saying, "How does the Creator want me to clean this?" So everything begins to mirror the movement of the heavens. You see,
yeah.
It
So then,
makes me.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I went back to supreme mathematics and the wisdom, and when you are to reflect that knowledge, it's like you're asking, well, how do as a woman, how do you want me to dress? How do you want me to speak? How would you like for me to,
right?
versus just
Doing
This is
it.
how
doing
I
what you
do it.
want to do,
This is
right?
how I feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
But having that thing to because that is surrendering too. It's asking, well, how do you want me to do it? That's a level of surrendering because it's
So
like
it's kind of like when the serpent said, "Yo, if you do this, you'll get knowledge and wisdom." And they like, "Nah." Now the Most High probably already might have had a plan, like, "Yo, we're gonna give you that later," but that's you're not ready for that right now. But you look down on the ground at a serpent instead of looking up, and look what happened.
Mm.
So what order are you following? And then what was the punishment? You listened to the voice of your woman and you did what she told you. That is not good, right? Because I made her for what? Why was she made?
To be a help me.
To help you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why was he made?
to help
To
the
live
or
with
yeah,
earth.
Right. And what was he given?
dominion over the land, to work the
The
land.
garden. Yo, this garden is yours to take care of. So when I bring her, she's here to help you in any way you see fit. Take care of this. But this is you got this. I'm giving you this to rock out.
Mm-hmm.
She helps. But now you listen to her. That's outside of the divine order and it throws everything off. And it function outside of the divine order did what? It separated man from the creator. I can't even rock with you, man, because you walking backwards. That's how important following that order is. So y'all like, yeah, I clean my dishes first. And I'm like, why are the dishes in the sink?
Mm.
That's the first thing I heard when y'all all said the same thing. Dishes. What the hell? There's dishes in the sink? I thought I was gonna hear I pull everything off the counters and I clean the counters first because I know I'm gonna clean the floor. So it's okay if I knock everything onto the floor, whatever little crumbs or stuff may be there. Then I clean those counters up real nice, and then I come and sweep and then I mop. That's what I thought I was getting ready to hear. I cleaned them dishes that I had in there. Yet I was letting them soak. They were soaking. I had them soaking. Yeah. Hmm.
When are you cleaning the kitchen though?
How long they been
You be
soaking?
cleaning the
Couple
kitchen.
days. Yeah. I put a little cap full of bleach in there so to chase the mice away. You see?
What you just said made me think of it made me think of like
The
when
answer to the question that I first asked, or something else you're gonna use to try to distract us and take us down another path. Go ahead, but what you got?
I was gonna say
Hmm.
oh drop my earring. But I was gonna say that
Out of order.
I'll just take the other one off. But I was gonna say that I thought about when you talk about creation and you're talking about when the Most High gives you something and the woman is there to help you to maintain it. And I thought about when men are choosing the woman that they would, have carry the baby and to help them to actually um, raise the child. And what happens when they don't follow divine order, which is, the man is the head and the woman is, to follow. But what happens when that serpent, I guess that serpent, or whether we want to say the system, or um, I think we were talking about like breastfeeding and attaching that baby to a culture that's not actually coming from that head. Um, that makes things out of order, and then the results is that we see, our children either taken away into another under another Elohim, or we see them, the mothers kind of take them and they get a hold of them by themselves, and then the kids are raised by themselves. It's like even that's the charge of you, as a man, your seed, and you're giving that to, you're supposed to bring that to life. And sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit. I
Hmm.
lost the point that I was trying to get to,
About two
but
minutes
it
ago.
correlated with what you were saying.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'll take it, I guess. Even though it didn't end. So we don't even know where
I
it was
mean,
going.
it's saying like that's you were here to, if you're here to create, procreate, and even part of that is like the woman is there to help. So if we, if we understand that, then we're not gonna, as the helper, we wouldn't even, allow certain things to get in our cipher to deter us away from that order. But then that's taking accountability as a woman.
I'll take that. Because like James 3:16, for where envying and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work. Confusion is a big thing. And confusion would be not having that order.
Mhm. Right.
So y'all are confused, you saying. Or you talk about the order as Marjorie Marie was just talking about between man and woman. Leviticus, when we read the laws of Leviticus, it says that neither shall you lie down with beast, and nor should a woman stand in front of a beast to lie down with them, because that is confusion. It even says if a man lies down with his daughter-in-law, both of them should be put to death because they have brought confusion, and their blood shall be upon them. Anything that confuses the order is like an abomination.
Mhm.
So even like introducing certain things into your system, certain foods, certain toxins.
If it knocks your system out of order.
So if we're given the order and we're given the knowledge, then we should apply it. So like even to our new way, there's law inside of there. So I think about like it tells us like how to dress, and that's one of the ways that I would say we all like cover our hair. So we're saying that's an example of us showing that we're manifesting the knowledge that was given.
Mm-hmm.
Or speaking.
Or it's like brand new, but when Grand Poobah said, "And wake up." That's the way the devil wants it. So there is no fuss. It's just a sad old song of self-destruction to stop our reproduction. They put our wisdom before us. Murderers.
Murderer.
That makes it wisdom knowledge. Murderer.
Murderer.
But we need knowledge, wisdom to bring forth the understanding. So he's saying our self-destruction lies in the fact that they put our wisdom in front of us, which made it wisdom knowledge. Right? So you put the woman in front of the man, and now our community is destroyed as a result. But we need to put knowledge, wisdom, the man, then the woman, in order to bring forth understanding. All right, with that, I'm gonna give it to y'all. Y'all got it, because y'all just nodding your head.
Absolutely.
Come back. Yeah, brother. Selah, brother.
They give thanks, but yeah, I think to answer your question, yeah, that there has to be, there is confusion if there was not, we're not able to give an answer as to how we're going to use. But then at the same time, none of us asked, well, how would you like us to manifest what was poured in at all? And that's what should have been the question, because I think it was like, well, I don't even know what to do, because it's like I didn't have like my own way that I could insert, because I was looking for my own way to insert instead of saying, well, how do you want to see that brought into?
I think that's a level of reverence.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like, always go back to the one. Like, not let me try to think of how I should do it, but always go back to the one.
Yeah. And at the same time, know that there's a line, because we can question, but then are those questions also coming from, well, this is what I really want to do, so I'm going to feign confusion, because I really want to do something else, which is still going to be confusion anyway, because what was instructed.
Right, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
All right, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, that's
stuff on the chat, because there was a lot happening. There's some kikis and some oh my gosh, and some LMOs, and yeah. Okay. So yeah, laundry. Yeah, okay. So how you clean the house? Yeah, like even the dishes. I'm like, well, I don't know if it's okay. Yes.
What time of the day are we cleaning the kitchen? Because maybe by 5 o'clock, yeah, dishes. It might be dishes in the sink. I don't know.
Well, everything is clean. So when I wake up, everything is clean. So whole entire home is clean before going to bed.
Right.
Not before making their beds. That's considered part of I don't know. Their blood is on their hands. I've heard certain food is for women only and for men only, but I don't know how true it is. Have you heard? I'm not sure of what you speak, Georgina. But we do have a that we eat in Anu, and that's based on the good of both. So I'm not aware of, and somebody please come and share, but I'm not aware of certain foods being made allowable for men versus women in scripture. So I can't say that I heard that. But you're welcome to stay where, but even still, we follow the Anu way. So if you have downloaded it, you can see like how we eat, and you can also reference Levitical law as far as how men and women eat in Anu. And that's for Georgina on Facebook. What did you say? Oatmeal, I heard, is not good for men to eat as it may bring on feminine traits.
Where did that come from? But like, what's the
Yeah.
source?
Yeah, so seek the knowledge. Seek the knowledge of your head.
Yeah, and there are things that are good, or that men and women probably shouldn't eat. Like, so for example, like taking on things that have excess of soy, because it has excess estrogen in it. Like, yes, we should be mindful of those things. When it comes to, I have learned that peanuts is also not good. Like, I would say, even picking up, if oh my gosh, Dr. Africa's book, he does have things in there. Oh, increased testosterone. So you see, yeah, you have to be mindful of the source of where you got that. Like,
And Georgina already probably got that book. Georgina, just pick up. I know Georgina. Knock it off, Georgina. Will you? You probably already got one of them books. And I probably already recommended one of them if you ain't already got it.
Okay.
That's how y'all get distracted.
Like she already got the knowledge.
Easy to distract y'all.
All right, Georgina. Oh my God. Don't be a serpent or the Satan.
I heard maca root make your hip pop out.
I heard that too.
Yeah, big booty. Yeah, big booty. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He likes maca root in this house.
Distracted.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I eat oatmeal chocolate chip. Okay, but back to give thanks. Yeah, you can reciprocate that love by joining at anulifeglobal.org/join. And there are other ways for you to show your love as well, prove your love as well. Before I close out, give thanks to everyone for. Well, I must read more to join. Okay. Give thanks to Marjorie, Ema Sequoia, and Oba for joining this live. This was really good.
Become better next time.
This is starting to hurt. Mother's smiling like it's like something's up with the joint right here. But no, I do give thanks. This was really, really good. Well, I was gonna say this was really, really good.
I think not so good. I think not
what
so
is
good. This is an example of
order to the space.
Out of order. Well, the part that was good for people who are watching to see what out of orderness looks like, or what light being given looks like, and how it can be and should be received, and what it looks like when it's not being received. So, and if that lesson is learned for any of those watching, and also for us here, then that is good. I think that is good. I'm not taking that, Georgina. Yeah, I'm not taking that, because what's good is dictated by the elders who are connected with El and Yah. If you missed that part in the beginning, but that was nice of you. I say that like that. That was very nice of you. But I do give thanks for everyone for joining and us deliberating on like what is good. I wonder if we have it, if we could like recap like what is good, like if we actually, because the answer was given, what is good.
Yes.
So we are good is a whole other situation. But but the answer of what is good was given. The truth of what is good. was given. So I'm going to, I wonder if we can like give our, well, no, it's not even our thoughts. It's what is good. What was given was manifestation. Well, it's the form, manifestation of the thought from the creator, like coming into fruition, that form. And I'm probably adding on words. I know I am. But being in alignment with the order of the Elohim. How about that?
Everything that Yah forms is good.
That's what I got. Formation of divine thought. That's order is good.
That is good. That's what's good. So when somebody says what's good, it should only be what is coming from the Elohim, the order that is that coming from the Elohim. All right. Give thanks, everyone. I do have housekeeping before everybody goes away. So as you know, like our midday affirmatives are every first day, also known as Sunday, but it's first day or Yom Rishon at 12 noon. Also, today's on Sundays, on first day, we release our new blog. So make sure you visit the website to get the newest edition of the blog. Also, our Anu Life Global Ministries glossary is available. It is available for download and free. So you can go to our website and download it for free today. And you can be on top of how we learned how to speak from Chief. I like to say how we speak. So how the Anu speak and the words that we use, why we use the word strong, what a safo means. Why why we say good dawning instead of good morning. So downloading the glossary is a good way to get some of that light from Chief Yuya. Also, other ways that you can give is making an impact by donating today. You can go to our give page and you can make a one-time gift. Get up on your Chief Phonics. You can go to our website and go to our give page, and there are lists of things that give descriptions of what your donations go to, and you can make it one-time or recurring donations. So give things. Also, we have Sadulu House. So this was created many years ago by Chief Yuya, and this is the online learning community where you can, is also another way to get up on your Chief Phonics, and it's self-paced. So, definitely visit saduluhouse.com and you can register for the Anu spiritual training. And I think there's a part 2 coming soon, but you should get part 1 before you try going into part 2. And as always, we have our Chief Yuya podcast, which was, a lot of what was the genesis for today's build, which was the podcast number 92. But number 93 is out, and 94 will be coming willfully this strong sometime. So make sure you go to chiefyuya.com and subscribe for the podcast. And that is it. Those are all of our announcements. Again, give thanks. Sovereign Eats give thanks. Sovereign Eats put the link in for the glossary. So for those of you who are watching later, you can do that. And you can just go to anulifeglobal.org and click around, and everything that I mentioned is right there in front of you on the first page. So give thanks, everyone. Give thanks, Margie Marie. Give thanks, Ema Sequoia, and give thanks. Training, and we will see y'all in the forward. And I'm just gonna end us here with our retreat. Make sure you